Okay, guys, we are live! So for those listening at home, welcome to the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. My name is Kevin Madison, and I'll be your friendly, what am I going to be, your friendly weirdo? What were you saying, Weird Master? I think is what we were saying. Sage is what the game tells me to call myself, but I am not going to be so lack of humility. I will be your Weird Wizard today. And today we're carrying on with our ongoing 10-part, or 11-part, including Karajan, I guess, a campaign playing Robert Schwalb's outstanding fantasy RPG, Shadow of the Weird Wizard. This is part of our celebration of 10 years of the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel, which I think I just got more gray hair by saying that out loud. And this is part 3 of our campaign. Now, one thing I had mentioned to the players before we started again today is while I had run a fair bit of Shadow of the Demon Lord, the predecessor game to this, I have not run Shadow of the Weird Wizard before, and I'm realizing now that the way that we're running this campaign is really not optimal for showcasing many of the mechanics in the actual game. So if you are intending on checking this game out or want to give it a go, do not take necessarily our gameplay in this to be reflective of that. There's a whole host of really interesting tactical options that we're probably going to see just a fraction of in this, particularly with different interesting decisions you get to make as your characters are leveling up. So in the event there are folks who are big Weird Wizard fans, I just wanted to mention that at the outset of this session, now that I've come to that realization. So with that in mind, allow me to introduce you to the stars of our Decade of Doom campaign, the Weirdos themselves. I'll go the order I've got you guys on the screen here. Why don't you tell us who you are and who you're playing? First up, we've got Graham.
Hi, I am Graham, and I am playing Oakley, who is a young arcanist.
Very nice. What is an arcanist?
So he is somebody who has gone through an apprenticeship in magecraft and is now developing that association with magic ever deeper and perhaps into darker and more dangerous places.
Fantastic. I love where this is going. Next up is Carl.
Hello, I am Carl, and I'm playing the Juggler. The Juggler is a revenant, so he's come back from the dead. He's also a rogue and now a spell fighter.
Ooh, very cool. What's a spell fighter?
A spell fighter that kind of can charge one of their weapons with magic.
Very cool.
He's kind of gone along like sort of a magic tradition path. That's what I took as my second level advance is magic. And then spell fighter kind of adds onto that. So I think it works.
Very cool. It's a good example of what you can do with the versatility of the game too, by starting on one path and then going really in a different direction to supplement it. Next up is Sean.
Hey, I'm playing Sirocco. He is a harpy. He's been a budding magic user, and he is now an elementalist. An elementalist deals with elemental magic. No surprise there, of the 4 elements of air, fire, earth, and water. And so periodically he will, as he sort of touchstones on those, like for instance, his skin will be hot to the touch, or his feathers will be blowing, and despite there's no wind, or his skin will be moist even though it's dry, and as the elements kind of.
It's also because he's a teenager, but I mean. Very nice. And last but certainly not least is David.
Hi everyone, I'm David. I'm playing Caden, a reformed criminal, college dropout, and currently commander of the town guard.
Wow, very nice. So
as like the commander for my expert path.
Excellent. So for those listening at home and for our players, we're picking up about 18 months after our last session. What do you guys remember where we left things last time? I believe we left you guys racing off into the night, praying that you would not come across a orcish horde. So that is the very last thing we saw. But what was the last little bit before that?
I think there was 3 main events in the second half of our crossing. We treated the way station, where we picked up a former friend of some of us, Estebel, and Estebel had picked up some new friends and belief systems potentially, which we sort of found out about in due course, as one of the people in the caravan, a Mr. Poulter, is a priest or acolyte or follower of the new god. The High One has been spreading that, and so there was a bit of tension between Estebel and some of her former friends like Sirocco, as the new god, or his followers at least, that I do not wish to speak for the big one himself, don't take kindly to non-humans or those that they deem other or possibly monstrous. So we had a bit of sort of back and forth and some tension. And Moonbeam got quite out of sorts as she read the cards, and they were showing all sorts of strange things and dangers by inverting the three traditional meanings of cards, and so there was a bit of bad omens potentially, and it sort of all came to a bit of a head when she's called Sirocco a monster, and Sirocco might have the hots for Estebel a little bit, and it was very traumatic, very formative and character building, but very traumatic at the time.
Yeah.
But thankfully she came around, because then we got into a storm during which then we had an attack by crocodillos, armor crocs.
I didn't load the images. Dang it. Yes, the crocodillos.
But we desperately tried to defend the caravan, and succeeded, but some people lost their lives. It was another sort of quite traumatic experience for quite a few of us.
How many of the followers of Poulter Viscerad lost their lives?
-2. Because he gained followers from the event.
That is
due to
correct.
Providence or pure luck, however you wish it. All of his followers and him survived, and so some more people decided, maybe he has a point.
Yeah. Carl, that also wasn't predetermined. We actually let the luck dictate that. So it just came out that none of his followers were affected by the crocodillos.
But Estebel did apologize to Sirocco, who very bravely helped defend the caravan, as did all of us.
I'm pretty sure she does dig me. I mean, that's obviously confirmed.
What's not like to dig? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Blowing feathers, damp palms. Like
I'm the only one that can fly. I'm the only one that can fly. Okay?
Exactly.
And
we found that crooked spire oasis, right?
Yes, it was. Due to your ability to fly, you spotted a edifice in the distance, which we were sent ahead to explore, and within which we found a shelter and some clean water, but also the remains of a previous caravan, or at least one person who had made camp here and who hadn't fared very well, and possibly had been trapped here and taken a drastic solution to their circumstances. But we did retrieve a strange magical flintlock pistol. I believe is inscribed with elemental runes.
Yep. Who ended up taking that, by the by?
Moonbeam, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I always suspected
it
she'd be
lifted the morale.
pistol
Yeah,
arrow.
but it lifted the morale of the caravan, as we had clean water and a place to shelter for the night and wash up and rest. So that was a positive. We didn't tell them about the previous occupant.
Yeah, I think you guys clean. There was not much to clean up afterwards in light of what that gun can do, but yeah.
And then I believe we saw the sound, or Sirocco spotted wagons burning in the distance, which was the last main bit that happened during the crossing.
Yeah.
And we learned about halfling caravans. And we, so most likely this is or was a halfling caravan, so we went to investigate and found what was left, which wasn't very much, but it looked like some calamity had befallen the caravan, and there were all sorts of strange and worrying signs, such as I believe Fenric picking up the smell of orc, which is very bad news. And there were also runes and fire, and the symbols giving the names of 3 angels.
Yeah.
and another was another mark or like a single word in an old language.
Yeah, the
Meaning
three.
dusk, I think. Yeah, it was also very portentous and troubling.
And because the names of the three angels were Omnius, Justia, and Liberatia. But there was something unusual about the markings of their names. Do you remember what that was?
Were they inverted?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There also was, in a different language, there was a word that was repeated over and over, carved into the side of the remnants of the Firefoot caravans. Do you guys
Idki.
Idki, correct.
In the language of Atemos, the legendary island that the founder of the faith of the High One had his sort of
Jan Sewell.
ordeal.
Yeah.
Although
it means
he was
dusk
not
or sunset.
native Atamosan. He was a prince who had murdered his father and then basically failed his way into having to flee to Atamos, ate poison mushrooms, hallucinated, and then came away a prophet of a new god and the founder of a new faith, for that matter. But yeah, do you remember what Idki means in the original Atamosan?
Dusk or sunset.
Correct. And that is where we left things. That was 18 months ago. Let me set up one thing. I realized I forgot one thing, so I'm going to set that up right now. Here we go. So this will just have to do for our terrain. You can ignore the figure that is on this one, because your weird master forgot to grab one more image. But our scene opens on a wide open steppe. There is no rider here. There are not a panoply of weapons that are placed in the ground, as if marking this as a battlefield or perhaps a place to... Oh, nice. Or a place to mark where warriors have fallen. I'd ask you to focus on the mountains, the grasslands, and the vast openness of the area between. And what we would see walking along here is a single character, a single figure, I should say. I mean, he is a character once we get to know him, but this figure is making his way across here. And in our film version of our campaign, we would see it cut back and forth to show different perspectives to indicate this character has been walking for quite some time. And alone. This is not the Salt Barrens that we have seen before. This is much more welcoming to travelers. And the vast open spaces will afford you plenty of opportunity to see any threats that that you may see and respond to them beforehand. We would cut to an evening. The sun is setting, and we can see this lone character in his traveling garb making his camp for the evening. It appears that this person has just picked a patch of the endless grasslands to just hack away and make his place. It is indistinguishable from the hours of grasslands he's crossed before, and no doubt the ones that are ahead of him. And as the sun goes down, there's but the single fire burning, and it does not appear that there's any precautions that are being taken about this fire being spotted, because in the endless miles that he has been walking thus far, there has been no sign of any other travelers. Graham, tell us what it's like as Oakley is sitting at this fire. Tell us what, if anything, has changed about him, having traveled to Asylum, the city of thieves, to have participated in forbidden studies there, made friends, enemies, acquaintances. What's crossing his mind?
He reflects how the landscape is so different from the closed-in bedlam of Asylum from which he has departed, and departed in some haste. Not only he was reflecting on the debts that he now owes, both mundane in terms of the monies that he owes, but maybe also more profoundly in the magical and arcane realms that he has been traveling. And he is not perhaps, he is a wildlander, he's used to traveling, but at the same time, he knows in these great wide open spaces, there are dangers, even if they're not readily apparent. And his thoughts come back to Newtown and the place that he's heading to. And perhaps to reacquaint himself with people that he could almost call family and friends, of which he found in some ways very little in Asylum. Although it was full of people, it wasn't necessarily full of welcome. And even as he apprenticed himself to those of greater learning than him, it was transactional, and it was at times difficult. So he's seeking the solitude is almost a place where he can unravel the bedlam that he discovered in one of the great cities of the Outlands.
So as you finish your meal, the rains fall rarely on the grassland region here, which does afford a sky that seems as if scattered with, heaping buckets of stars. There's so much brightness above you. Go ahead.
And as an astromancer, he will look up at the stars and reflect on the magical connections that they make.
So you are looking up, enjoying perhaps a small portion of the strong coffee that you had brought with you after the your meeting or your day. There's a long day of travel ahead of you. There's been weeks of travel behind you at this point. And as has become your custom now, you think it's time for a little company. And so you reach into your jacket and you pull out a single white crystal. It looks like a, basalt rock, not basalt, but like the rock crystal kind of thing. It's cloudy on the outside, quite large. And you place it down into the earth, which quite easily supports it as a cradle. And there's a single word that you have learned in a language not spoken by any of its natives for tens of thousands of years. And when you speak that, a ghostly form appears. It is a human man, but it is dressed in regalia that, for one, speaks to a lordly or kingly nature, someone who may have been a ruler in his time, and of a style not used by any living culture, and not for tens of thousands of years since the gods smote his people and removed them from the surface of the earth. You know that this is Gilgamar, and he has manifested before you, and you have come to know the language of his people, or perhaps it's just that there is some magical reason for you understanding his tongue. And he says to you, "Did you even move? This looks the same as yesterday. And the day before that. And the day before that."
It is a wide realm, unchanging over many days.
You know that you need not do this. You weary yourself, tire like a beast of burden. Draw on your magics. Return home that manner.
Whereas I could do that, you should be cautious as to when you call the magic. It can be a master of you rather than the other way around.
The other concern, so this may be the thing that you've offered to him. It's a bit of a fencing game that you play with Gilgamar when he is summoned. And you know full well the reason you are not making use of your teleportation magic is that you have unfortunately learned that someone is able to follow that.
Right.
And your mind skips back to your time in Asylum. And I wanted to give just a sense of the scale and scope of the crushed city of thieves, Asylum.
Mm.
You came to know much of this city, meaning at the snap of your fingers, you could vanish from one place to another. If you found yourself in an uncomfortable location, back, no difficulty, to another. And when you had to travel, it was only once you traveled those grasslands. But there is a memory you have. Dead friends, dead companions. The heavy stink of the toxic fumes of oil or petroleum. And the hateful pursuit behind you. You know that if you had used your teleportation magics to return back to Newtown the way you have so many times before, this would show them the way. And you know this well. Would you care to guess who else knows this well? It's Gilgamar.
Of course. Thanks, Gilgamar.
So he is, whether he is intentionally setting you up for a fail or whether he is simply taunting you, it is unclear. But he begins badgering you about that. Once again, foolishness, what are you eating, even? The leavings of goats? What can you find out here? You eat the way my hawks would.
It is so good to have such fine company, I say, as I over a meal, rather than having it alone.
How much longer, then, till you reach your home?
Do I have an estimate? Do I know? Do I actually know?
Yeah, it's probably about another 2 weeks, give or take. You have been making some pretty good time.
I'll tell him the truth. I'll say it is another good 2 weeks of travel.
If you fear to face these things, Oakley, my offer remains. And you know that there are some who delve into the forgotten secrets of the past, who do take such crystals and they bond themselves to them, binding the spirits to them, or what skeptics say, allowing the spirits mastery of them. Because you see, Gilgamar does not just have the appearance of a former king. He was an Oraldian king. And the Oraldians are an ancient and lost peoples who said to challenge the gods, and for their hubris, their entire empire and island was removed from the face of Earth. The legacy of that island people are these crystals. And those who bond themselves to them, they gain a kind of dual existence. They are called Deva. At least that is one name for them. Gilgamar can be an extraordinary source of information about the past, and as was custom for the Aurelians, he was a sorcerer king, and no doubt has a great deal of secrets of magic. But Oakley, you have not elected to bond with Gilgamar, nor may you ever, because as I said, it is not clear to you whether you gain mastery over the spirit in the stone, or whether the spirit in the stone now rides you like a horse.
And I recall Rastalan, the great spirit who was infused in me and created my magic. Once is enough, I think.
So, Gilgamar says then, he looks down, his ghostly form not concealing his contempt for you.
Oh no.
Your boots will give out before we reach there. Why do you
My
fear
spirit.
Why do you fear? You think your friend's not strong enough to protect you from your pursuers?
I cannot say. And I would not risk their lives unnecessarily.
At least the skies are nice tonight.
They are beautiful.
And we leave you two there. A 20,000-year-old ghost and a arcanist on the run. And we will cut back to Newtown. Now, Carl, I'm not sure if you're still there. I've lost your camera in Roll20. Oh,
I'm still here.
Oh, okay, got you back. Yeah, perfect. So this is Newtown. I don't know. I couldn't find one image that really kind of captured the sort of both ramshackle and refugee camp kind of status, while also building up and, you know, the hub of activity, people coming and going. So I've grabbed a handful of things to give you guys a sense of what this place is like. The population in Newtown at this point is probably about maybe 10 to 15,000 of sort of like permanent residents. So it's a very it's building up very quickly, but that fluctuates, and a lot of that is also transient populations who are coming in and heading out elsewhere. And I think what we see is as we focus on what is probably the kind of the bazaar. And the bazaar is every day something new and every day some new problem. And we can see that in the bazaar, in addition to a bunch of people who are trying to hawk their wares and in a variety of different levels of permanence in their stalls, some have, you know, properly fabricated stalls, some have lean-tos, some have a simple tent, some are simply standing in the middle of the street with a placard and some things in their hands trying to sell to people. There are wagons that have just opened up the back and people are selling things off of the back. And there's a question as to whether some of the goods have been legitimately acquired or not. But there is no supervening or kind of like overarching authority within Newtown, other than, although there is the town council, but they have yet to find enough people to be able to ensure that there is some stability and some legitimacy to the trade that comes in. All you can hope to do is that when every day brings in new people who are inclined to think that they can get away with thievery in the bazaar, it means there is every day some new person who needs to learn what Caden has been retained to deal with. So as we cut across here and we see, you know, this bustling hub of commerce, what would we see when we land on Caden? Would he be speaking to a displeased merchant? Would he have a would-be thief in his custody? Would he be discussing, you know, the needs of the day with his patrol? What do you think?
I think we'd see him standing behind someone who is about to steal something from a merchant stall, and it's just his massive bulky form will just sort of loom over the person, and he'll put a friendly but firm grip on the shoulder, and just sort of lean forward a bit and say, "I don't know what troubles you had in the old world, but I would leave them there. Everyone deserves a second chance, and everyone gets one warning."
He looks up at you
him on the back.
and just the nervous nod, and he turns and makes his way off into the crowd. You're fairly well. Give us what do you think? A will? You've got a watch or something like that as your profession now, right?
Member of the watch, yeah.
No watch, yeah. So roll with one boon. Get our first roll. Yeah. We've been playing together too long, Sean. We're both making the same joke at the same time. Yeah. So you've well and truly scared the bejesus out of him. He's going to be walking the straight and narrow and taking that second opportunity. The merchant kind of turns around and sees you, who wasn't really paying close enough attention to their wares, and says, "What do you think they call you, Captain or Sheriff, Marshal?"
Like sort of Marshal.
Marshal?
It's a nice frontier town feel to it.
Yeah, it says, "Marshal, good day to you." And what you find is there is, I think, would you mind giving us a intellect and intellect roll with one boon, please? $12 or higher is what you're looking for here. Okay. So, and you guys, I believe, have fortune right now. Whether you wish to use it.
Group resource, right?
Group resource, correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it may not be called fortune. What is it called? It's called fate in this game?
I have something called group fortune.
Oh, it is fortune. There we go.
Yeah, I think fortune, yeah.
Should trust the instincts there. So you are looking elsewhere when something comes up behind you, and you can feel something sharp poke into the slats between your armor at the small of your back. And you can hear a girl's voice in your ear says, "Any last words, lawman?" You don't recognize the voice, but you do sort of recognize the sentiment.
So instinct will kick in, and he'll just literally kick back.
Okay.
Judging from the heel, so go like, if the knife is there, the voice comes from this angle, the center of her body will be, and then just do sort of like a mule, just kick back with all of his strength.
And you hear a girl shout out, and as you turn around, this is what you kind of witness. This is Malice. Malice is a changeling, and Malice is your deputy. And she's like, all right. Point taken, boss.
We've discussed this before. Don't announce it, just stab.
You've got it. Next time you'll find it.
So if I help her up to her feet.
Oh, jeez. What you know is that while you are the brawn of this operation, you do have a unique resource, not only in her Fey abilities as a changeling. She also happens to be a psychometrist. She is a telepath and is able to read minds. There is no court in Newtown. There is very much frontier justice. And as such, the legitimacy of her submissions really comes down to how persuasive the counter arguments are. But you have found that she has been an exceptional resource. And I think perhaps she may have been one of your early examples of, giving a second chance. So, Malice says, "Jeez, are you wound up because your friend's coming back today?"
No, just feels like, as I see the guy I just sort of interrupted to walk away. Just feels like no matter how often we try, same old story every day.
Well,
and the rain isn't helping.
Well, I don't think your friend will like flying in this all that much, would he?
But he can make the rain stop, I believe.
Interesting. Well, word is that the Outriders have seen, I'm trying to remember her name. It is Gunnar, and what's his... Zarpa? Is that his wife?
Zarpa, yeah.
Yeah. Zarpa's caravan should be in by mid-afternoon. If he's with them, then he's back.
Good.
Another successful crossing. So that's good. Listen, I don't know if you've been told yet, but the Hateful Horde, I'm pretty certain that they're going to do something about those forgive me, I gotta look one name up. They're not called the Keepers, but they're called... Hold up here. I think they're going to do something about... the Redeemers. Two things, you know. For one, the Hateful Horde is basically, they're not quite mercenaries in the sense that they have a company together, but they are all followers of hate who work as sellswords, whether that's as bodyguards or as, you know, small-scale caravan guards escorting people who are going from one place to another place, or hiring on to take people to one of the 5 towns or one of the other places relatively close to Newtown. What they all do share in common is devotion to hate, the goddess, the daughter of death. And
I think as Malice mentions that Caden's hand will briefly touch the amulet to hate that is under his armor. And
what you know as well is that the Redeemers, that is a sect of kind of troublemaking followers of the High One. And you are particularly familiar with them on account of Estabel falling in with them, and what's his name?
Poulter.
Say again? Poulter.
Poulter?
Yeah. Anna was trying to remind me too. Poulter has become a pretty prominent and vocal proponent of them. The tension between the two of them, two groups, has not quite yet gone to blows, but you have fairly angry and violent followers of a war god who are being told that their god is a demon and a false god by a very vocal group of aggressive evangelical members of the cult of the High One.
The Waste should have claimed Poulter.
You know, I could practice my sword or my knife work.
Don't tempt me. Don't tempt me, Malice, but we've discussed this. He's not doing anything wrong.
They strike me as a reactive type. So if the first strike is going to come, it'll be the hateful who throw it.
Play into his book.
Do you want to have a word with...
Yeah, I think, yeah. Can't have this turn into open warfare in Newtown.
All right. And she snaps her fingers and suddenly it's a different person you're speaking to. Have an appointment on the far side of town. Anything else you want me to do, boss?
Nah, just what you do. Your job. You do it well. And I appreciate it.
Well, I'd almost not be insulted if I didn't know what you paid me.
I pay you? No,
She grins at you. Yeah. So she disappears into the crowd. We're going to cut to Juggler. So Juggler, tell us a little bit about what you've been doing in Newtown, you think, over the last 18 months, and how did you come into the training as a spell fighter?
Right. So that's a good question. I don't know who the magic people are. I know that one guy from the caravan has trained me in skullduggery.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah. So is it
caravan,
possible that Yeah.
You guys have been here for around 14 months now.
But the caravan has gone and come back. So
Yeah. It has several times, yeah. And Sirocco should be back today with the caravan as well.
okay. And I didn't stay with the caravan. Right? I stayed here in Newtown.
So the guy that you apprentice with, he is a elementalist, or he was an elementalist. Yep. So Sirocco stayed with him and continued his studies with him. If you want, there is going to be folks who are, it even may be among the hateful horde. You may not be a follower of hate yourself, but there may be spell sword.
He's a follower of death.
Who is the father of hate?
Yeah.
So if Lord Death is who you follow, it could have been that you learned your skill from one of the cell swords. What was the first magical tradition that you picked up?
I picked up the first tradition I picked up was alteration.
Alteration. Okay, cool. Let's just take a look at we got shadow. That.
Yeah. So I took an unnerving mask as the talent.
Okay. So that is have all of your have all of your magical gifts been kind of leaning towards like exerting your force, whether it be by intimidation or by violence?
No, not at all. Actually, it's a mix, but it's less. I mean, he already has. Other than, I mean, the spell fighter thing doesn't give extra damage. It gives like boons and banes, right? So it's kind of cool. So it really is not, it's not extra damage because he already has the trickery. It's really just a nerving mask is to intimidate people, keep people at bay, and then he took light healing and bestow might. So it's more like buffing,
interesting.
Buffing and healing actually.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So I think maybe if I know maybe he's trying to temper the hate.
Well, and also there is, I mean, it is the, it is the forever soldier who thinks that wars are simply battles, and it's those support things that happen between battles that leads to the victory in campaigns. So even though
he's definitely a support character.
Yeah. So, okay. So I think we're picking up with you. Perhaps you've been hired to like escort somebody, right? Like maybe you're making your coin as a bodyguard or something like that. In the event someone protects you, you can scare them off. No one worries about the fact that you look kind of dead sometimes, that you got a little bit of aromatic, spice funk to you. And perhaps you were, seeing someone to the wherever it is you're escorting them, one of the lean-tos that they're renting a room out of. They turn and they says, well, thank you. And they offer you pay for it. And, you're going to pay a little bit back to the Hateful Horde.
Mm-hmm.
As you're turning and you're making your way back, I think you would likewise be aware that Sirocco's caravan has come back today, or is supposed to be back today. Okay. You've also heard that Oakley is supposed to be back at some point. Estebel, you haven't seen, or not Estebel, Moonbeam has, you've heard, fallen in with kind of like prize fighting or pit fighting. So a much more brutal kind of things. And you're not quite sure what Fenric has been up to, but Caden tells you that Sirocco should be back today, and they're surprising Oakley is not back yet. He's normally, in particular, since he has advanced his magical studies to the point of suddenly being vanishing back, he's been arriving here almost as if he lives down the street.
Right.
And it's as you're on your way back, you don't quite, you maybe are, your mind might be thinking of that. The rain is falling down on you as you're making your way through one of the streets. When you hear someone calling out a name, Holdick! Holdick! Holdick Tuckner! And you finally kind of realize that this voice seems to be calling out to you. And this is... Here we go. He's a young and kind of, he's dressed in at least, not ornate, but like, it's fancy and not filigree, what's the word I'm looking for? Embroidered clothes. But he's looking a little rough. Like he's got, 5 o'clock shadow on, and the way this is what he looks like. And if you turn to see him, he's walking up to you and he says, I thought it was you! Holdick Tuckner, what are you doing here? My God, man, you look terrible. You look like you died.
Well, you are correct in that aspect. I don't know who is Holdick. Holdick, is that what you said?
Holdick. Are you?
I do not know
are you
who this
telling
Holdick
me you don't know
is.
your own name?
I actually say I do not know. I think you are mistaken. I don't let him know that I don't remember her name. I think you are mistaken.
Are you?
I'm told my look is quite common. What is this Holdick Tuckner to you?
You think, and you just said, that face is common? Holdick, are you telling me you're no longer a juggler then?
All right. At that point, I'm gonna say, who is this Holdick? I repeat the question. Who is this Holdick?
Holdick tucked. It's you, Holdick. What do you mean? Who? It's me. It's Yito.
What's it? Yito?
Yito.
Yeeto.
Here, I'll put it in here. I'll change his name. Yito. And let me read my handwriting here. It's Yito Veldrenthaler. Hold on. Oops. I was a stage magician with the Hendek Circus. You were a juggler.
Can you come with me? I need a witness to hear this.
He steps back and he gestures, and this like puff of smoke comes up from his hand. Ha ha! Hey!
It does nothing for me.
You're not joking.
You must come. You must come with me, please.
Holdick, are you? Did something happen to you?
Well, you might say that.
What? Well, what happened?
I I was killed. I have come back. Praise the Lord of Death.
You've... No, hold it. I know that you're... I've always found your sense of humor to be peculiar, but I've never questioned your manual dexterity. You were killed and you've come back. How does that happen?
If I knew, well, I still couldn't tell you, but I don't know.
Did it hurt?
Probably. I don't remember. I'm sure it did hurt.
Well,
please, you must come with me. I need to hear about who I was, what I did.
Of course. And I want to know how you found yourself here.
I joined this caravan. I came across with other companions that I met. Some of them are still here. Some of them are coming back soon.
From the Hendrick Circus.
Moonbeam.
Moonbeam. Oh, that little thieving sprite? She's alive.
Yes, the card. She does cards, yes.
I don't suppose she died too, did she?
No, not as far as I know. The last I heard, she has joined some sort of fighting ring.
Well, listen, I'm very sorry, Holdek. I do have somewhere I am going, but you are living here now, right?
Yes.
Where are you? So you can tell him, where you're actually staying. You guys have
I have a lean-to or tent with the what are they called? The hateful whatever.
Well, I think all of you guys, when you guys first arrived, you all sort of lived together, and then it's tough as this place has been expanding out. You guys have like the shell of some building maybe that you've laid claim to, and my companions, I've laid claim to this. I give them the direct. I know the place. There's a member of the Watch. Are you a member of the Watch? Holdek, did you go responsible?
I'm not a member of the Watch.
No. See, same old Holdek. Well, listen. I imagine this is upsetting for you, and I did not mean to cause any of that upset. If you died, can you still get drunk?
I can pretend I'm drunk, if that makes you happy.
If I'm to get drunk, I would appreciate it if you would pretend to as well. I will bring wine tonight. And I will come and visit, and we can talk about what happened to you, and I will tell you what's happened to me.
Yes, I would like to know what has happened. I actually asked him, but I try to make a joke about it.
Yeah.
You didn't kill me, did you?
And if I did?
Well,
I'm kidding.
I juggle more than balls now, and I take out a couple daggers and juggle them in one hand.
Well, you've certainly lost none of your skill. That's impressive. Well, it's good to know that some things survive death. I suppose then, if you died, then you don't remember that you owe me money, right?
I think all debts become paid out. You must take it up with the Lord of Death.
Still as sharp as your daggers. Holdek, I'll come by tonight then. I know where your place is. Even though you look quite sallow, it is very, very gratifying to see your face once again, which just disappeared.
Yeah,
and it's back. I did not know you could do that trick, Holdek.
Well, I'm full of surprises.
Indeed. He winks at you, as am I.
I'm called just the juggler now.
Just the juggler.
That's what I remember, or have remembered.
It is, I suppose, an apt name. And I would suppose then, since I'm the one who killed you, I should bring you a second bottle of wine for you. Oh, I jest. And he turns and says, then I will see you later this evening, Holdek, or the juggler. I will see you this evening, the juggler. And as he leaves, juggler, you consider, what is your intelligence bonus?
It's a 10. Is it 0?
It's 10, so plus 0, okay.
Yeah.
Then I will tell you that one of the things you have come to learn, if that's what you've done is worked as a bodyguard, why don't you go ahead and put down bodyguard as a profession for you?
Okay.
You come to judge what, when people are going to cause trouble, and to do so fairly quickly.
Mm-hmm.
You may not have been kidding with that last comment about killing you.
Oh.
You got a critical success on the roll for it. So there's a dull kind of ache in the back of your skull that just feels. He walks down and disappears into the rain.
Okay.
Sirocco, we're going to cut back on you. Today, my friend, is the day. The scrub that you have been coming across in ever-growing abundance on the wide-open salt barrens tells you that this is going to be one of the final days for travel. You should be back at Newtown today. Where would we find you, Sirocco? You're getting to about midday. The caravan is still going along, and while you have seen bandit attacks on this, fortunately you have lost only, say, 15% of the people who have started the journey with your caravan.
Winner.
Gunnar and Zarpa are far down below. And what's going through Sirocco's mind, knowing you'll be back with everybody once again today?
He's looking forward to seeing his friends. He enjoys this. I think he's gotten better at. Oh, I should mute my. I think I'm.
Roll 20.
He has gotten better at this, and it's at the same time at the end of the journey, you're always still happy though for it to be over, and you want to see the town and relax, see your friends, go to a tavern, and not be on a dry salt marsh all day. So he's looking forward to that. He's also thinking back of what's happened, like of that of what's transpired, and like what that what there is to tell. To foretell of his friends.
So you've made probably at least three complete journeys back and forth across the Salt Baron in the time since we last saw you. Each time you have learned more. There have been increasing signs. Every time you come across, there does seem to be further evidence of violence. You can just feel, judging from what you saw in that Firefoot caravan that you witnessed a year and a half ago, more orcs, but you have yet to actually see them. There's all sorts of dangers. You've become extremely familiar with the perils that occur. And there's a great deal that you learn about yourself and about, what is needed to survive by making a single journey across the Salt Barren. Imagine what it does when you repeat it 6-7 times.
Yeah, I think he's growing up a lot. So he's been given a little more responsibility. He's trusted a little bit more. I mean, Gunnar did before, but not his wife, not Zarpa. And so Zarpa, has come to like not ride him. You're making it when she doesn't ride you quite as hard. It's not like she compliments you, but she just doesn't complain constantly, and as much kind of thing. So that kind of thing, and he likes that, and I think he's by now for sure quite close with Gunnar, and so he's just grown up. He's just he's still young. He's got a little bit of both. He's still kind of young. He's still inexperienced, and yet the curve is sharp here, where you grow up quick. Like this is the kind of thing where you're not sitting on the couch every day. You're doing stuff, and you're keeping an eye open, and you're fighting, and you're warding off threats and dealing with those things, and it brings you along quick.
I think one of the things we would see that is different on you too, you've got on you it's like a little tool that effectively is kind of like a mini wind gauge. So you can, as an archer, one of the things you need to be able to account for, especially for making long distance shots, is the degree of wind and whatnot, and where it's coming from, to account for that stuff. I can tell you that is a gift from someone named Jidric of Evandale. I'll put that in chat. Again, I know we all went to high school with the Jidric of Evandale, but,
Indeed.
It is of particular value to you because a Jidric is a ranger. Rangers are one of the... they're kind of like almost like a chivalric order, or at least so it was apparently at one time. And while it no longer carries the trappings of knighthood with, horses and armor and, shields and all that, stuff, the Rangers continue what their original duty was, which is keeping people safe in the wild places through here. Jidric first saw you when you guys came upon the Firefoot caravan. You did not know it at the time, but over the past 18 months, you've come to learn that there is someone, and while they're not able to prevent even most of the harms, they do what they can to try and mitigate the harms of those trying to escape the chaos in the old country. So it's a pretty treasured gift. Now, when you finish your scouting for, it's going to be getting into the harder part of the day, so that Gunnar is going to be summoning a storm. You have not learned that spell, have you?
No.
Weather? Okay. So then you come back down, and I think perhaps a Gunnar might tease you a scooch about, would you care to work this invocation, Sirocco, or...
I've learned much. There's no need for what I have not.
We cannot magically shoot the sun, yes?
You're envious, Gunnar, and I finger my bow.
I'm certain that is what it is. And he begins his invocation to, it's a ritual he needs to complete in order to affect the weather, to call in the storms. He says, if you could see to the rest of the caravan.
Of course. And I hustle off to my duties.
I think, tell us a little bit about what his role in the caravan is now, and whether that's changed over the last 18 months, because before he was sort of an outrider and kind of kept to himself, and then mostly just stayed with his friends. Does he ingratiate himself or interact with members of the caravan more, or is he kind of have things reinforced his sort of hiding on the edge?
I think, I mean, he's now more official. I think he's got more actual duties. So he's not the same as Caden, but he would be like, you know, Caden's gone, so he's stepped in a little bit to that, like, hey, folks, you know, we can't be doing that. Like, pick up your so-and-sos and let's move over there and stop dawdling. You can't get 20 feet behind the caravan. You got to keep up. You know, this kind of, so the kind of, you know, daily in and out, and Zarpa, you know, trusts him to keep an eye because he's above. So he's got that unique view of, like, you know, Zarpa, this isn't going to work. We're getting too close to whatever. And, he, you know, he just, now he knows he's free to do that. Okay. Whereas before he'd be like, I don't know, should I say something? Is she going to climb on my back again? So he doesn't do that anymore. Like, he's more like, he's confident. He's got a confidence about his role. And yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, it sounds like you've sort of fallen into like a head of the watch type of thing.
Yeah,
so
ish.
Yeah. So I think Zarpa, while not, you know, it will be a, you know, rainy day in the Barrens before Zarpa is showering you with compliments.
Yeah.
But it says a lot that she trusts you to take care of that, and has over the last little while. So Gunnar, of course, is effusive in his praise when appropriate, but Zarpa not so much. Yeah.
Different. There's different love. There's different love, thinks Sirocco. Maybe Gunnar told me that. There's different kinds of love, Sirocco. Yeah. Okay, Gunnar, gotcha.
One of the things that you have come across this past, it sounds like Sirocco has, you know, is want to sort of some friendly, exchange friendly barbs with people he is fond of. And I expect that there is one other kind of rival caravan company that you regularly get to know at Oasis, you know, or in the old country before you set out. Someone who you've encountered over the course of it, you know. And just like sailors on a wet ocean, you kind of watch out for each other. When there is trouble, there's nobody else around here other than these caravans. So if someone is in trouble, you go and try and help. And I think that for that reason, you kind of at least try to keep a friendly basis with some of the other caravans. A month ago, you came across the burned remnants of, it's not necessarily, not someone you lived with or whatnot, and certainly not as close as the others, but there's a friend you made, a fellow kind of outrider type that you would see for the past year, every time you guys were in Oasis, every time you guys were in the old country. Someone who you were friendly with. And they all died a month ago. And seemingly again, orcs. You've not yet seen any. And there is no horde that's out there. You do not travel at night, so really it would be a matter of them coming upon you because you've heard that that's the case. But it's ever present in your mind. In particular, this last month, there have been more caravans impacted by orcs in the past year, accelerating every time that you travel. And you've heard worse stories in Oasis and in Newtown. So Gunnar says, then, this will be the last push, then. And Zarpa says, well, will we be done with you then?
Not surprisingly, Sirocco hasn't spent a lot of time on the future, you know, and so he's like, like he hadn't even thought about it. He's like,
yeah. Gunnar says,
kind of awkwardly.
Yeah. And I think this is usual. This is her sort of way of like making sure you're still going to be around. She'll never say it. She will never say it. But she really has come to rely on you and wants you to be around, right? Gunnar says, we'll be laying over for a month to resupply, and we're making a fast pass back across. We'll have a space for you if you wish.
Oh, a month's a while. Oh, very good. I look at, you know, friendly at Gunnar, and then kind of warily at Zarpa.
Zarpa says he'll spend all his money and then be back in working again.
I look at Gunner. Yeah, I don't. I think if anyone else had said it, I'd have some, repartee. But with her, I'm just kind of like, I don't.
And this is sort of the way it has fallen into, I imagine, over the last 3 trips, right? Like they always lay over for a month because you need time to let the animals recover and yourself recover from the trip, and then learn, what you can about what's happening, and then head back once again. But that seems to be what they're planning on doing. Gunner says, have you given thought to what you... let me ask you this, Gunner, or Sirocco. Did you bring any gifts from the old country for your friends?
Gifts? I mean, so classic look on his face, like he forgot mom's birthday. Like, what? Like, gifts? Like, what? Why? What? How does this... So... No, no, maybe. No, I haven't. No.
So you hear Zarpa just kind of like getting angry. Just give him the box. And Gunner gestures for you to come over to their caravan, and you can find a small box there. And I think, what do you think there is in there? Let me ask you. Let's do this. Oakley, Juggler, and Caden, knowing that it is someone with a good judge of who you people are, having crossed the Barrens with you for so long, what small gift do you think is in the box for each of you that Gunner has arranged for Sirocco to give you?
That is a good question. If anyone has any...
I'm going to let the players answer, because, again, Sirocco doesn't have any clue, so...
Right.
Yeah.
I'll let...
So that glass, does that grow on this side of the Barrens? Maybe it only grows in the old country?
Oh, no, that comes from this side. Yeah, this definitely comes from here.
Okay. What would be good for the Juggler? I don't know. Come back to me. I'm gonna look.
He could have, for instance, a set of 5 perfectly spherical, machine-tooled balls. Things that catch the light in a way that nothing else does.
Yeah, that's good. That's cool.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Caden, Oakley, what do you think?
I think for Caden, it will be a bottle of whiskey that is only sort of available at what used to be his favorite place when he was still in the Adamant Host in the old country.
Okay.
In sort of the capital city, and that's obviously not available here because it's specially made, and nothing has been here long enough to make decent whiskey. So most of it, I assume, here is swill or homebrew or moonshine. So he very much will look forward to a bottle of that.
Okay. And what about Oakley?
A fine journal that is beautifully bound and has strong and ready paper that is ready for writing, and perhaps a quill and ink to go with it.
So this is what you find in that, all set in safely in straw in the box.
I'm looking a little sheepish because, seriously, I was supposed to come up with this? Just a burden of life that, adulthood sucks. What am I? What? Really? Okay. That kind of a. I'm like, oh, thank you. Oh, this is great. After I get done with my reverie, I'm like, yeah, this is very thoughtful. I will definitely. Great appreciation. Thank you, Zarpa, Gunner.
Of course. And what he says, all right, that should be sufficient cloud cover. Let's get the caravan moving. Your friends are waiting.
Indeed.
So you hustle up, you spare a look back at the caravan. You can see one of the sort of tender moments between Gunner and Zarpa, and you think you overhear, it might have been Zarpa who picked the gifts out. And you take back to the low sky to get everyone up and moving once again. So
should I have brought up who I saved? Was that up to me? Should I have introduced?
No. Like if it comes up for a moment,
Okay.
It's a matter. You will incorporate it into what's going. If it comes up, that's great. But yeah,
very good.
So we're going to cut back to you, Caden. And where would you find you as you are, making your way through the town? Oh, you have yet to have word with the hateful horde, I suppose.
Yeah, I think Eden will be on his way to whatever passes for their headquarters when they're in town.
Okay. It's actually it looks like something that was built originally as a stable, but then they sort of took it over as a kind of mini barracks, but have not made enormous changes to it. So let's head back to Newtown here as well. And as you make your way over, there is I think let's make it a dwarf who is among the... it's mostly humans in this setting. Let's make it a human. And I think you probably have come to know all of these folks because, you like to keep an eye on the people who are the armed potential troublemakers making their way around.
Mm-hmm.
And his name is... Ooh, that is too good to resist. Ruckus. Of the hateful horde. And as you're walking over, he seems to be talking to two other juniors. He sees you walking over. And what do you think the gesture is among the faithful of hate? Just like a strong, like, upper arm.
Like an arm clasp or some sort of, Yeah, something straightforward, something simple that can be done on the battlefield, nothing too fancy or elaborate.
So he grabs your in a hateful shake. Almost sounds like a film. And he says, "Afternoon, brother. What brings you here? No trouble from one of ours, has there?"
Well, rumor has it that you're brewing up some trouble. Something about Redeemers?
Fucking Redeemers. He does not hide his contempt for them. How can you, of all, stand there blasphemy?
Knowing when to pick my battles and when to focus on worthy opponents and let the mad ramblings wash away. Surely you have better things to fight, worthier things to fight than...
Do you not see what he is doing? They are waiting. Those weaklings are waiting until they have sufficient numbers, and they will come for us in the night.
And then you will be ready to meet them. You'll be watchful, and you'll be much better at defending yourselves. If you attack them now, you're just playing into his hand. You'll prove everything he's been saying about you and your horde.
What is that? That we are mighty, that our God favors us,
demons,
and that their gods do nothing to protect them?
Like the buzzing of mosquitoes on the wind. Annoying, but best ignored.
The pounding of my heart is the sound of hate, shouting in my ears, insults to her father. I tell you, she calls for this. These are not their lands. If we allow their poison here, their weakness, it will be the downfall of us all. Best to take our arms to them, slay them all. Would you stand in our way, brother?
There's a deep sigh from Caden. I share the sentiment of hearing her call, but I am charged with watching over all of Newtown. Regardless of what beliefs or minds or thoughts people have. And if you cause some ruckus in town, I will have to possibly intervene, brother, and I would not want that.
He kind of locks eyes with you, and he's a much smaller man than you, but he is, this is a guy who has his place among the hateful horde by dint of his ability, right? And he locks eyes with
you. When Caden looks at him and says that, there's definitely an element of not of like LR news, that Caden isn't certain he can take this guy, so there's no sort of bravado or anything, or like, if you didn't do as I say, it's more of a, I would really not enjoy that because neither of us knows what the outcome might be of if it came to that.
And fortunately, there is something that allows you both to extricate yourself from this kind of standoff, because there's a scream, and then another, and then several from down the street. And they both turn. His hand goes to his weapon, and his weapon is out. He looks at you and kind of nods as if like he'll back you up on this, whatever it is.
Give him a nod back, and then draw my blade and head towards the commotion.
Okay. He calls back, and he says something in like a battle tongue, and very quickly there's like 3 guys who have suddenly come out of the stables, charging out, ready to help. And the lot of you make your way through the crowd. It seems to me there's a bunch fleeing here. And then you sort of, quite easily make your way through the crowd. What are you dressed as when you're on, kind of serving as marshal here?
I think he'll normally have his now new shiny, well, once shiny, not so shiny anymore, ring armor. So that's a sign of his station, just a simple cloak. And then, his blade, which is probably the best made thing in his equipment, as I see him taking it from the adamant host before leaving after the disagreement. So it's incredibly well made.
Yeah.
And probably stands out a bit. And then his simple shield.
Okay.
But I don't think we have uniforms or anything like that. It's too ramshackle and new it yet.
There's barely a town council, so that tracks. So you sort of, if you do, unsling your shield, people are definitely getting the fuck out of your way. And then you've got 4 men, armed men coming from behind you as well. And what you find is as you get to this kind of square, there's not really, per se, streets. There's things that have kind of ended up being streets as Newtown is kind of spread out and built out. But you get to this one junction, and what you can see is everyone has sort of got back to a respectful distance. But what you can see, at first, you think it is obviously dead. It is a human, you think, in barely any clothing, stripped to the waist. It is so emaciated, and filthy and injured. It is difficult to tell the gender. There is the left arm is missing from the shoulder or the elbow joint down, but it is moving around. The other hand is up, but it is missing 2 fingers at different points on the hand, and it is gesturing out wildly in the direction of individuals around. There is one eye missing. There is the jaw missing. But there is sufficient flesh left on this for it to make a sickening, moaning, gurgling sound. And you need only look for a moment when its eyes meet yours to realize the panic that is in there. And you realize as the one good hand is reaching out, it is bent at a strange angle, as if fractured but not broken. And it takes 2 cautioned steps towards you. It's hair, blood, the sweat, grime, as it moves towards you, moaning. That one good eye fixed on you. And you realize that as ill as this thing is, what remains of its undamaged sockets are welled up with tears.
The injuries, they're not recent injuries, isn't it? It's not bleeding right now.
If you look over...
The missing limbs and...
The fracture is. The fracture looks like it is bleeding a little bit. The other injuries, no, are definitely old and appear to have long ago been very crudely put back together. And there is a stench as the body gets closer, or as the person gets closer to you. And you can give us I think a intelligence or intellect check with 2 boons, please. Oof.
Oof.
Okay. So you cannot place the stink of rot and filth that is coming off of this thing. But there is something that does stand out to you. Because on what remains of the chest is a ragged symbol that has been branded or flensed into the flesh and skin that is there. The last time you saw that symbol was on the ground in the remnants of the Firefoot caravan. It is the inverted symbol of Omnius. This thing staggers towards you, still moaning. Do you do anything as it approaches?
I think every moment of like, it's some undead monstrosity, and Caden gets ready to sort of, and then he sees the eye welling up, and sort of like the very, very, very human of pain and panic.
Yeah.
So he'll drop his sword, he'll step forward to give aid and just steady the person while calling.
Yeah,
the classic of like,
Ruckus and his men
healer. Yeah,
are both kind of spread out, and they, you know, because they get in a ready to attack this thing for you.
Yeah, I think Caden will be calling for a healer.
Okay. If you do that,
lungs, just like
this thing staggers forward, and just it's a horrible sound of this thing, but it is sobbing, and the ragged sound of its throat.
One strong arm around it to steady the person, and yeah, just calling for a healer.
Okay. If you call for a healer, Ruckus turns and, you know, like gestures for two of his men to run off. They obviously have someone there. Juggler, I think you are getting back to check in and pay your dues with the hateful horde.
Right.
When you see 2 of your colleagues come running over, and they're like, hey, Juggler, we need you now.
Right. Well, I go running.
So you go racing over, And what you can see is Caden is on the ground holding this person. And there is an instant recognition, Juggler, when you get in and the smell hits you. This person is a revenant as well. So, Caden,
okay.
you come walking over and you look down and you look up and you see Juggler is there, and you know Juggler is gifted in magics, in some healing magics at least.
Yeah.
I will look at Juggler then. Do what you can.
Can I actually use magical healing on this thing?
There will be some soothing impact on it, but like this, the disfigurements and the horrors that have been worked on this person they must be months old, if not older. So you can cast some kind of healing magics if you'd like on her, but it
would take more time and more stuff. More
like,
treatment, I guess.
Well, and for certain things too, like for regrowing abilities, it's hard to tell what could be possible here. What is certain is this person is alive, and that the magics that you work, they will offer some measure of relief.
Okay. Yeah. I also probably, if the person doesn't have Galaxy root, I'll take some seed of mine out and, let that start growing, because it probably smells bad too.
Yeah. Okay. So if you apply that, then too, she looks up at you, and there's a weird, in the same way that you could recognize her as a revenant, she seems to recognize you, and there's noises coming from it that are clearly trying to communicate, but there's nothing.
Yeah. Okay. Can I do the light healing, or what is that? How does that
work? Absolutely. Yeah.
Just hit the dice thing. Any boons or banes?
For what? Sorry, what are you rolling for?
Light healing. It has a dice next to it. I don't know what it does.
Go ahead and click on it. Let's see if you copied it in. Let's see what the text says.
Oh, I didn't. It just gives me the attack spells. I'll just look up the spell and see what it does.
So in future, guys, please make sure you got all the spells loaded before the session, because we have very limited time in these sessions. We don't want to be spending time looking up spells.
Okay.
Okay. That's why you got those access to those character sheets early. What spell is it you're trying to cast?
It's called Light Healing.
Okay.
It's under...
Heals 2d6 damage.
Yep.
Okay. So it does offer some measure of relief to her, to some of the more immediate stuff. The fractured, it's both the radius and the ulna that are busted in the forearm. Both of those are somewhat repaired.
Okay.
So, what do you wish to do? Go ahead.
While Juggler is healing her, Caden will look around to see if anyone looks like they were chasing after her or is looking sort of shady in the crowd of onlookers.
Okay, go ahead and give us a intellect check with Boone, please. Nice. Is that a nat 20? Oh, it's
no,
a 6.
It's the 6 on the Boone.
Pretty good, pretty good. You do not see anyone there, but there is... You kind of match eyes with a crow that watches you and then flies away from it. You just know it was watching you and her.
And I assume crows are associated with Lord Death, if one follows the old gods.
Yeah. And Lord Death, again, anathema to... Or undead are anathema to him. So, what do you do next? Juggler has stabilized her as much. I think Ruckus will kind of lean into you, Caden, and says... A mercy to kill this thing.
is not a thing.
He gives you a look of like, isn't it?
But also, I want to find out who did this. So let's take her somewhere sheltered and safe for now and see if we can communicate and give her what comforts we can. This isn't a battlefield, Ruckus.
He looks at Juggler. Accompany them to Caden's quarters. This is about as good as what you would account when you became the place that Juggler had described to Yito. It's a place that was turned over to you when you assumed the kind of job of head of the watch. So you've been given kind of like one of the more, you have an actual hard roof above you, you have a door, you have 4 walls. You're living large. That would be a safe place for her, probably. There otherwise isn't really like a place to, you know, like a station or anything like that. So they're able to bring like some kind of like a tarp that they put her on, and between the 3 men and Juggler, they're able to carry her along on the tarp towards you. And I think I guess, is there anything that you wish to do between when you leave the scene with this person and when you arrive back at your home?
No, I don't think I'm gonna talk to Caden about this Yito person later, I think.
Okay. Caden?
I think if we have a moment as we walk, Caden will ask Juggler about this whole hateful horde versus the Redeemers rumors and showdown, and where Juggler stands on that.
Yeah, however you stand, Juggler, Caden's not wrong. They are going to kick the living fuck out of the Redeemers. They've had absolutely enough of them yapping on about the false god and them being a demon and them all being, you know, devils in service to the hells and all that bullshit. So whether you share that or not is absolutely your discretion.
I tell Caden that.
Okay.
They're tired of it. They will act.
I get that. They'll just make it worse.
Well, I wouldn't hold them back. I am there to just support anyway. Triage, you know.
So when you arrive back, unless there's anything else you guys wish to discuss, when you arrive back at your place, you cast the door open and you're almost miss it. But sitting inside with probably one of the biggest pieces of crystal you've seen in his hands, turning it over, is Oakley, and he looks up at you as if like no time at all has passed.
Good morning.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
You took longer than usual.
It's a very long way. I decided to walk. Such beautiful views.
Well, we're about to spoil your scenery, unfortunately, as we bring in the talk with the unfortunate.
So you see that, and you can see, here is one thing that you have learned in your time in Asylum, Oakley. The inverted symbol of Omnius.
Yes.
It is not correctly understood as an inverted symbol. It is a distinct name. That name is Nihilo.
Oh dear. Yeah. Is that?
And that is what's
is-
cut into the, like, over the breastbone of this being.
Nihilo. Oh, I say nihilo.
When you say that aloud, this thing starts... It's very agitated hearing that. And its eyes, one good eye is wildly staring up at you, trying to figure out, and it's trying to stand, but it cannot get up.
Fascinating.
Not the word I would pick. But you recognize the symbol? Reminds me of the caravan we saw.
It is. It's distinct. It's distinct from the inversion that you might assume. Nihilo, it feels like nihilistic, nothing. It's the absence of things. It has a power, a void.
A void is perhaps the best way to understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Where omnius is almost a reference to omnipotence, and everything. Nihilo is the inversion.
It's the totality of nothing.
Do you know why anyone would do this? Aid motions at the all-encompassing, the injuries, the trauma, the branding.
Well, people are, as I've said to you before, Caden, your optimism is incredible. People really are absolutely dreadful, you know. They'll do the most unpleasant things.
I get that, but what would someone aim to achieve? Like, is it a magical thing? Is this just a nutter with someone's ritual for, or is because last time we saw the symbol, there was like fire and fog of angels and orcs, so like it's a town in nature.
So before Oakley can answer, the door is once again cast open, and Sirocco stumbles in with a box that is almost too big for him to carry.
Hey, everybody. And he's got kind of a grin on his face and looks around, and I'm back.
Sirocco, would you mind giving us a will check, please? I'm wondering whether you can keep your hands on the box when you see this poor unfortunate on the ground. You're good. So, with our heroes, or our weirdos, assembled in their home once again, gifts, guests. Why don't we take our mid-session break now, guys, because we're already at the mid-session.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So, for those listening at home, we'll be back in about 5 minutes, and then we'll see what happens next. Sorry to interrupt you, Graham. You're going to have the opportunity to jump in right afterwards.
That's fine.
Okay. Back in 5 minutes. Okay. Hey, everybody at home. Hope you are having a terrific weekend thus far. And a good long weekend if it's a long weekend for you. Okay. Okay. Soraka, you've arrived back just in time. It is your timing is impeccable as usual.
Indeed.
Okay. There we go. Okay, so we got everybody back. So, a couple of things we should talk about before diving back into the scene. Oakley, if I might cast your mind back to your time in Asylum, the City of Thieves. One of the things that I imagine you undertook to understand was the bizarre markings that you found in that devastated thing. The inversions of Omnius, Justia, and Liberatia. Now, one of the things you have uncovered, I will tell you one, the practicalities, I guess, of it are that no one has an actual clear answer for you. All they have is theories. Because it seems as if there is a great deal of tumult in heaven. Now, just as a refresher of the metaphysics, as far as the world understands it, Paradise was a place occupied by an entity known as the Adversary, who is at times referred to as Lord Death's brother. The new god cast the Adversary out of Paradise and gave access to living mortals to it after they pass. An opportunity for grace in the afterlife. This is the alternative to Lord Death's, which is that you die. The ascension of the ascension of the new god increased his power, and the angels that were in service to him were said to have a fixed number, but for practical speakings, for all practical understandings, were said to be limitless. But the three on whom the new god relied most firmly were Omnius, Justia, and Liberatia, who personified the three values which the new god placed the most importance on: grace, righteousness, and mercy. The theory that you've heard from some demonologists that you became acquainted with is that those three angels are now wayward. It is unclear why, but they manifesting or personifying such important deific values, when they changed, laying aside their stations and adopting new names, it likewise led to a fundamental transformation in themselves. They are quite literally what they manifest or what they represent. The theory you heard is that the new names, Nihilo, Transgressia, and Dominatia, what is unclear is what might have caused that and why. Some claim that they are attempting to become a new version or new successors to the places of the old gods. Hate and Dominatia probably cover some same territory. Nihilo and Lord Death likewise cover some of the same territory. And is it Revel? Is the, I think, goat horned god? Is that his name?
Mm-hmm. Would that be Transgressia?
That would be Transgressia. That is one theory. Another is that this has been a long-term goal of the Adversary, to strike back against his, or their, great nemesis. A third, quite heretical theory is that this is an act of the High One himself. All part of a long, arcing plan in requiring them to first ascend to heaven and then seize control over all other domains. There's been no secret that the High One is hostile to all other older faiths, for sure. And a final one is that it is much older voices that have shattered the minds of these eternal agents of light. the theory in that one goes that these 3 angels, not gods, simply angels personifying such powerful things, became susceptible to the whispers of the elder gods. Gods defeated by Lord Death and his ilk in the time before time, locked away. The very same elder gods said to have manifested the orc plague. And that this corruption of the angels is simply a metaphysical manifestation of the same physical corruption that is tearing the old country apart. You never really got a clear answer to that because the people who you were discussing it with, Oakley, they are all dead.
Oh, I thought you were going to say there was just a lively intellectual debate. No, they're all dead. Right, okay.
They are all dead. They are not the sort who would ever consort or speak to one another. It speaks to your ability as a middleman and the types of contacts that you facilitated when you worked for the Warg Wizard. You knew people who would hate one another. You could speak to them. So there's no chance of them necessarily having shared enemies, but what you know, they died. You know the shadows move. You can still smell the pungent stink of petroleum and oil in the air. Almost a precursor to a pyroclastic event. And you know that when you tried to run using magic, that it pursued.
It.
You have not seen that since, and Gilgamar has suggested that he knows more, but you know quite well that old king lies routinely to try and get his way. So while he may have some useful information, he may be absolutely full of ghostly shit as far as it knowing what it is that pursues you. But arriving at your friend's house and then immediately seeing the mark of Nihilo, it brings all of those sensations back. Imagine how panicked you must have been, thinking one simple teleportation, you reach what you think is a safe destination, and then that smell comes and the shadows move. You teleport again, another place, 100 miles away. The shadows move and the smell comes. A third time. And then you run until your legs nearly give out. And then you pack and travel for months across open steppe, trying to get back here, fearful that had you triggered that spell once again, you would have brought whatever is pursuing you here. One thing, Juggler, have you looked at all into how you became a revenant, or how one becomes a revenant in general?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of like you're wrongfully killed. You have some.
No,
sort
I'm not
of
asking. I'm
mind
not
of
asking
vengeance.
you, Carl, how it happens. I'm asking whether Juggler has looked into that.
I think he's been focused on trying to figure out
Who he
what
was.
his name is.
Okay.
Like who he was. Yeah.
So
So
something
now
that
it might be important.
Yeah. So then something that Oakley may be able to advise you on, because he has been having to look into it. I mentioned that Lord Death is anathema, or undead are anathema to Lord Death. That is true to the point where there is a order of militants called the Death Knights that strictly hunt undead. The one exception to that are revenants. Revenants are a gift from Lord Death for you to right a wrong that has been done to you before you pass on to your eternal reward. So it is the one exception where it isn't viewed by the Death Knights and so forth as a curse or a horror to be eliminated. It is seen as someone with the favor of Lord Death. But there is no way an angel, current or past, should be associated with Lord Death in any way. So if there is a revenant here in your house, Caden, with the marking of a fallen angel upon it, that is a act of usurpation over the proper portfolio of Lord Death. It is a miracle only he grants. So while this is a revenant, just like you, Juggler, it is very different in another way, in a fundamental way. And Oakley, you would know all of this. This is all information you would like be able to impart upon everyone.
As I say, it's fascinating. It speaks of fractures in the cosmological architecture.
Sirocco, what is your response to all you've seen here now?
I think he almost drops the box. Like he's in a completely different gear. You know, he's like, "Hey, I'm here, tavern. You know, let's go."
Yeah.
You know,
And then the angel of death.
So you would see, and Oakley, you were not expecting to be here necessarily, although he does come back, or you recall fairly often. What happens next, guys? This Nihilo Revenant is on the ground. I think, Juggler, you're able to give her some semblance of perhaps there's like a, milk of the poppy type situation you're able to give her to alleviate some pain.
Mm-hmm.
I don't recognize the Revenant, right? Not from a caravan or anything. Okay.
I mean, again, missing an arm at this is, you would honestly think it would be a zombie or something like that. Like, there's an arm missing. There's another arm that is badly injured. The jaw is missing. One eye has been destroyed. It looks like death walking.
So they're alive? I say kind of incredulously as I find a place to put the box down.
Yeah, it seems like a cruel joke. This poor person has one arm and no jaw. They cannot communicate well, likely.
I'll go up to and with that I'll go up and try some hand signs to the creature, to the person.
Oh, okay.
Just I'll try. I'll see if I see some recognition or anything.
Sure. So if you go over, the one eye looks up at you, and like you can see intelligence behind it, and the sound that comes out is an effort to try and communicate, but it does not make any sense. And if you make any gestures with your hand, remember it's missing two of its fingers, and not coterminous ones either. It's like the pinky and the middle finger have been removed or broken.
I'll sign to it. Can you understand this? A yes or no. I'm trying for a yes or no and see if I get anything.
Yeah, it kind of, it looks at you with eyes, and if you say out loud, like, do you understand? It'll shake its head. She will shake her head.
Sirocco, if you're past, and it's good to see you, lad. I hope your travels were less eventful. But if your past returns anything to go by, that box will hopefully contain something for me that I'm very much looking forward to. But should also have some paper in it, shouldn't it? Maybe we can try and have her write to us.
Oh, the box? Yeah, the box. I brought you something. And I go over the box and still kind of eyeballing the kind of the mess, the person, and put it on a table, whatever passes for a table in here.
Yeah.
And open get the box open, and yeah, such a mix of emotions in here of like, this was supposed to be fun, like passing out gifts and look what I've brought you.
I believe we have the line of the campaign now.
Yeah.
Shadow the Weird Wizard. This was supposed to be fun.
Yeah, it's supposed to be fun. Yeah, look what I've brought you, and I hand Caden the bottle with a more fun color liquid, and then hand the juggler the balls quickly. This was supposed to be a little more. This was supposed to be a little more fanciful and of a time, but I hand juggler the balls, and I hand Oakley the little book with the quill. As foretold, as predicted.
Thank you.
Indeed. All right, I didn't pick these out, but Zark.
I'm embarrassed now. I brought nothing.
Listen, I didn't bring anything either. You've forced it out of me.
Swanko, you do see a pretty sizable crystal that Oakley is going to pocket a moment ago, so he's not quite telling the truth. He brought nothing.
That's true.
I eyeball it. I look at Oakley, but there's so much going on. I would definitely have some banter, but I'm confused. There's way too much going on. I start to say something, and then I'm like,
Yeah.
So when did I take another close look? When did she show up?
About 10 minutes ago.
Huh. No idea what happened, I take it, since no one's really saying anything?
No, but I would very much like to have a word with the people who did this to her. Indeed.
There's been some pretty terrible things that's happened on the in the Saltlands. I assume does it remind me of it, Kevin? Is there enough connection here? Or?
No, like this is definitely like if you do bring the blanket back and you see that marking of Nihilo or the inversion of Omnius, you're the one who had the most clear above vantage of that symbol before. So, and I doubt that you'd ever forget those. So you would recognize
the main
that
connection. Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, like you've not seen anything like this. There is definitely cruelty among the raiders, and you've seen dead bodies and things like that. But like this is, and if this is like Juggler, where she's been kept alive in this way for some reason, like if it's Lord Death that does, why on earth would he allow this to happen?
That was my sentiment about that.
Yeah.
I saw.
Maybe that's how it came up that Oakley explained that like this cannot be the work of Lord Death.
No.
I saw some terrible things. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say I've been sort of combing my thoughts on the magic that would be required to either restore this person or to unravel the cruelty that has been inflicted upon them. I don't think I have that magic, do I? And I'm trying to think which tradition it would be. Perhaps it's more the necromantic arts, the arts of death.
Give us actually, you don't need to roll. I think you would know well enough as an arcanist. Whatever's been worked here, this is not necromancy as it's known. No. Necromancy can't usurp the role of Lord Death and create a revenant. It will create facsimiles and other kinds of undead which are repellent to Lord Death. But this has done that, and it may be the binding of the marking. If you physically destroy the mark, that may undo the magics, because unless Yeah. It's a innovative is a really inappropriate word for it, but I'm struggling to think of a different way of phrasing it right now. A unique working of it, and it seems to rely on this binding of the symbol. So it could be some kind of combination of wording magic and of not invocation. What is it called? There's the word they have for deific magic in the game, and it's not coming to mind.
That's performed by theurges, isn't it?
Yeah, theurgic magic. It could be a combination of those in the same way that, like, because the names of, among some of the faithful, the names of angels are said to have power just themselves by speaking them. This is a horrific distortion of that type of magic.
Yeah.
What do you make of this, Oakley? I'll be on my haunches, trying to magically make something of this, sort of trying to understand it, look at the symbol. What were we going to say, Juggler? Anyone?
Well,
He's causing all sorts of confusion in the middle of the room.
Oh, that's fine. When you've been gone so often, I have been training in the magic arts as well.
Oh,
Unbeknownst to all of you.
I see.
So I'm sneaky like that.
Watch.
Anyway,
whoa.
Anyway, is this a physical mark that can be dispelled or destroyed? This person needs relief. She needs relief. This is.
Yeah, if you destroy this marking, that may very well do it and release this person. But as Caden said, it would also mean that whatever this person knew or knows, it may be gone absent any kind of seance type magic.
I don't want to say, oh, we'll release you if you tell us the information. That seems wrong to me, but that's up to you guys.
I mean, they may wish to have some restitution for the wrongs that have been done to them.
Yeah.
Oakley, would you mind sparing a page from that fancy new journal or some other paper you have?
Of course. Please. Here.
Hayden will take the sheaf of paper and sort of sit down next to the woman and put it in front of her, and grab a quill and say, "Are you able to write?" I know looking at her broken hand with missing some fingers.
So one thing I do love about the game, I remember reading this, page 34 of the Shadow the Weird Wizard rulebook, they give you a little summary of what everybody knows. It is what knowledge everyone has. One of them is how to read and write. So I wasn't sure about the letter of, the degree to which people are lettered in here, but that's an incredibly clever thing. I wish more fictional settings, especially sci-fi ones, would have that kind of thing where it's like, here's what you need to know about what everyday life and everyone can do. So yeah, her hand will go up and it'll be with some difficulty, but if you put ink to the quill, Juggler, she'll accept your help if you offer that. She is able to write out the name Alyssa.
Not if this person did this to you.
She shakes her head, and she sort of gestures back to herself.
Oh, your name is Alyssa.
She nods.
I'm sorry this has happened to you. This is not what the Lord of Death is about.
She moves her head, as if to say no.
Do you know who did this?
Now, she gestures for pen once again.
Death Mage. Temple.
Alyssa, who guards the entrance, and where is the entrance, if you remember?
She shakes her head, and you can see tears are starting to well up. It's upsetting that she does not know.
I understand. I only learned my name before I died, and maybe the person who killed me.
So that's news to you guys.
You go and chuckle and sort of like, what? Okay, one thing at a time.
Yes, I know.
Alyssa, does the name Poulter have any meaning to you?
She shakes her head.
Hoping beyond hope.
Disappointment.
Yeah, wishful thinking there, Kate. Wishful thinking.
It would solve a lot of problems, Oakley. It would solve a lot of problems I'm having.
I can believe.
I tell you what, if you say it was, never mind.
You haven't changed, Sirocco.
Yeah, did Sirocco go and creep on Estabel before?
It does. So Estabel's settled, right? She settled into Newtown, right?
She has, and she is with the Redeemers.
No, I mean, I think I would come see my friends and deliver the box and have chats temporary final chats with Gunnar and Zarpa, and where are you going to be, and then come over here and see these guys, and I would get to it, but it's not.
Okay.
That's not.
Okay.
Oakley, you're fond of dwelling into dark and dangerous places. Have you heard of any underground temples on the new town? I mean, there are barely any structures here to.
Oakley is an archaeologist, aren't you, or prospector?
I'm a prospector, so going down into old mines and tunnels is something that I do.
Yeah, give us a intellect check with one boon, not bane. One boon, please. So one of the things you're aware of is that Newtown has been here for a while. It's not. There's some who think that what is currently here is just the most recent version of a way station on the far side of the Salt Barrens. There has always been travel between the old country and the new lands through the borderlands. And while a lot of that travel will go across the ocean, there's also always been this. So there's a theory that Newtown actually is built on the ruins or the remains, or at least the same place as an old way station.
Right.
So you're not aware of that, but people tend to build up here, not dig down. And also, if you find a place that's sort of a subterranean thing, are you likely to share that with other people? Or you keep it to yourself so you can hide shit in there?
Smugglers and stuff. They might know.
So it's consistent with what you've heard. You're not aware necessarily of any specific underground place, but you know that there's been, it's sort of a common thought that this place has always been used as a way station. It just happens to be much more active now than it was before. So perhaps there is stuff underneath there. As for a temple, you're not aware of any underground temples here.
Well, they weren't perhaps a temple at the time, but maybe they are now.
So,
Caden will ask Alyssa, are there any others like you, where you were?
She kind of nods.
Well, we got to find this place.
Something is making things.
Were you in a caravan?
She nods.
Yeah, I said that makes sense. I mean, otherwise, some more sizable settlement like this would have had to have been involved. It makes more sense. It was from a caravan, I thought. Sure enough. Oh, do you know? And I tell her, did you tell me You might have told me the name.
Oh, of your dead friend?
Yes.
I didn't give the name, no, but I think that you likely found them actually dead.
I'll bounce that name off her.
Yeah. Do you think it was a man or a woman?
Man.
Man. Angled.
Okay.
And she shakes her head.
I don't know what else. I mean, so there's either an underground temple here or nearby on the along the caravan route.
I don't think she traveled far before she was found in town, not in her state. So wherever she's from and however she got here, it must be somewhere under Newtown or near Newtown. But I have to go and ask some questions. Someone will know something.
Right.
I think that's
so
when you guys hear a shout from outside. And you recognize Ruckus is shouting at something. And then there's the sound of steel on steel.
I'll be right back. Caden will grab his shield and sword and sort of like...
I can't stay in this place. I rush out too.
Okay.
Come on now.
Yeah, we're. I feel like we got to deal with this. I guess we could. Is there a way? Do we have a dispel? Has anyone? How do we scratch the mark off? I mean, I don't know.
So maybe that's what you're thinking as the others step outside. Oakley, what are you doing in response to the ruckus outside? Are you just still wrapped on what's going on here, or?
Well, I'll leave the dead people in here, I think, and I'll go out. I'll follow Caden.
Okay. And okay. 2 seconds here, guys. Stepping outside.
I will perhaps I'll mumble to the juggler on the way out. I don't think I have the magic to do that.
Caden, you were the first to step outside. And so you are the first to see the last of the hateful horde fall beneath the ruined blades of the trio of dead men who stand before your residence. The area has cleared out almost as if a Old West shootout was going to happen. 3 nearly identical dead men, each wielding runic blades, stand before you. They are about 20 yards, maybe. No, that's probably too far. Maybe about 20 yards, we'll say, from your residence, where they have engaged with the Ruckus and his 3 men. It is unclear whether they are just simply injured or whether they are dead, but the hateful horde is down. And as each of you step out, let me see if there's any immediate, terrible, horrible fucking thing that happens. No, it does not appear to be. All that comes as a check in the mail, guys. So, these stand before you, and seemingly as one, they all raise their swords and point them towards you, Caden.
I will raise my shield, grip my sword tighter, and say, "Let hate flow through me."
Then, guys, how are we going to do this? Let's see here. We don't roll initiative. It is simply a matter of you guys deciding whether you are going you're spending your reaction to go before the villains. Is that right?
That sounds vaguely true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they go first unless we spend a reaction.
Okay. So is anybody spending a reaction to go before these creatures? Or do I get to show you what they can do first? If only I still had a mustache to twirl.
I would like to, if I can make it out. If I'm able to make it out.
Oh
there,
yeah, I think
so-
you're for this round. I think until you hear sort of what's going on out there, you're probably still consoling this this woman, Alyssa.
Oh, well.
She has a name now.
I nerfed myself.
Not at all. You got a hell of a roleplay bonus.
No, I know, but I have this. I have like this spell. This to come up. No,
Let's see.
I have a. Oh, how do you show them? It's weird.
I think you click on the dice, maybe.
Yeah, I did that, but it didn't. I submit. Oh, maybe because. Let's see if this works. No, it doesn't come up. That's weird. Anyway, I have bestow might.
Oh,
that I
okay.
could cast on. That I could cast on Kaden. Don't
So-
die in one round.
I will. Are you good? You want to? Did you want to use your?
No, I can't go. I can't go this one. I'm going to try to do something with the woman.
You
I
can
will
take
use
the
my
initiative?
reaction to go.
Okay, so Sirocco, you're taking the initiative. They are 20 yards away. What are you doing?
I am taking to the air with my movement.
So how far can you get up?
My movement is 5, and my and fly means when
10,
you
it's
move,
double,
you move
isn't it?
2 yards for every move. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
can go 10 yards up.
Okay.
And
Then hold up that.
and then do I get an action too, or no?
You can move a number of yards equal to your speed score using your primary mode of locomotive: walking, rolling, slithering, or fluttering. Can you flutter?
No, just fly. I fly up.
Flying.
Are you
Let's
trolling?
see
Are you
here.
trolling? So I can, if I still have an action, I'll attack as well. But maybe I don't get one.
I just don't know if it is requires you to take your action.
Because I think it's just my movement. I think flying's just movement.
But it doesn't include fly as one of those specific, or crawl, or climb as one of those ones that you can do as part of your free movement. Right?
Oh, okay.
And retreat is listed as one of the alternate forms of movement.
Let's see. Well, fly is on page 43.
No, that's what
It's
I was
with.
right, and that's what
Okay.
it says special forms of movement.
Oh.
Right? And when it says moving, because it did include fluttering.
Because it says under special forms of movement, in addition to walking and its equivalent, you might move in any of the following ways.
Right, but that doesn't say that it's part of your free movement, though. It just means you have the ability to move in that, and it includes retreat. When you're in the reach of an
And then
enemy,
it says
you retreat,
each requires you to expend yards of your normal movement. That makes it sound normal.
but not your free movement.
Okay.
So let me take a look here. Let's just see if there's something in the actions. I feel like we've looked at this before too.
I was thinking that those special movements, they just mean that you don't get to go your full move. You know, like a climb is half.
I think that's fine. So because run is listed as an actual action, so I think you're fine to fly up. So anyway, you fly up, then what do you do?
Attack.
What are you attacking?
I am
Oakley's
firing.
barely. He just got back. You're going to attack him right away?
You know, he was a little mouthy, and that crystal's very suspicious. And he was hiding it. He was hiding it. So I am letting loose an arrow at these these terrible looking
Yeah.
marauders that are pointing their swords.
Go
at
right
Caden.
ahead.
Okay.
As you do, Caden will shout out, "Aim for the eyes, Sirocco!" So you can attack with a boon.
Nice.
As I use my command to strike, Commander.
Is that a
Nice.
reaction?
No, I can do it once per round,
Awesome.
provided I can speak. It does not take up a reaction, and the only effects an ally that can hear or understand what I say.
Okay. Love it. Love it. Okay.
Nice.
Go ahead. Make your attack with the
All
boom.
right. Am I within 20 yards of them, Kevin?
You only move 10 yards up, so yes.
Okay. I didn't know if the Pythagorean theorem was going against me
Yeah,
on
right.
that.
Battletech rules. Yes, you're correct. Pythagoras is going to fuck you. It's more than 10.
It's more than 10. Fair
Because it's
enough.
20
As long as it's not
away,
more than-
you went up 10 on an angle, so...
Right. As long as it's not more than 20. 20 is the magic number
So
on this.
always,
but,
gamers are never going to not be rogered by some dead Greek mathematician. Go right ahead.
let's see. There we go.
Nice. That is a hit. So I'll attack the one that is closest here. Let's see.
Oh, I guess I didn't add it. Doesn't matter, I think. But the high ground boon might have applied as well, but it probably doesn't matter. So that went up.
Yeah,
What do
you
you
got your boon. I'm just going to remind myself. I think enemies just take health damage, right? They don't take damage and then health.
Oof. I don't know about that. I have no knowledge.
I think that's how that works. I think it's only player characters who take damage and then... I'm just going to double check here. Oop. And actions in combat. Okay, well... Where is... Like, it goes from combat directly into equipment. Let's see.
Could it be in the other book? Not in the...
Damages at page 29. It's earlier in the chapter, it looks like. Let's see here. Damage, here we go. Sources of damage. Enemies and damage. Enemies take damage just as characters do, but when an enemy's damage total equals its health, the sage decides the enemy's fate. That's amazing. It transforms into Godzilla. Guys, this game's amazing. Okay, so then that answers my question. 10 points of damage. So you fire, and it actually manages to pierce the fairly heavy plate armor that this thing has on it. So maybe put a dot on your token when you take in your action, guys. That'll just be in a way of doing that. And if you're not sure how to do that, just when you click on your token, there will be two little dials that show up on the bottom of your token. It's the rightmost one you want to click that will allow you to put a colored dot on your token.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, that may have been for your benefit, Graham, because you use most other VTTs rather than this one. So,
Yeah.
okay. Anyone else seizing the initiative? Nope.
If I can do so. All right. Okay. All right.
Then it is their turn. Let me see here.
I think Oakley, if he comes out and thinks he's threatened, then he would. He may not have time to do this, in which case that's fine. But I think what he would immediately do is he would, and really he would have it up the whole time. But let's just say he hasn't, and he wants to do it now. He would throw up or try to throw up Arcane Mantle, which is a ritual, and that provides a protective shield around him. So,
What's the duration of it?
until I'm unconscious.
Okay, so that's effectively the equivalent of mage armor, and a ritual takes 10 minutes to perform. I would assume you do that first thing in the morning every day.
I think he would.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So
in which case, carry on. Okay.
Yeah. So we can assume that's up every. That's kind of like the mage armor, thing. As long as you blow a slot on every day, it lasts for most.
Should we figure that I wouldn't do that? What do you think? I have something similar, but it's that knobby bark skin. I don't know. What do you
Does
think?
Knobby Barkskin have the same? Knobby Barkskin was my Pogues cover band in high school too. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Very knobby. Yeah.
But
It's a ritual, and it flakes off when you rest.
Then yes, I would think you would use that every day.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Same
Same
thing with spell charged weapon.
Definitely.
It's
Oh yeah.
also a ritual.
Yeah.
Right.
All those things, as long as it lasts, if it's a ritual, that does not necessarily mean it's whether it's a duration of the full day. Then it would be sort of your preparations for start of the day. You do that ritual, get it going, and then.
Just don't take any naps, guys.
Yeah, right.
If it does until you're unconscious.
No naps. Naps are going to mess us up. You didn't nap, did you? Oh, come on. God.
Okay. All right, I am checking here. Throw, defend, overcome, run. All right. So they are... they are going to start advancing on you. They will run towards Oakley, and Caden. 2 towards Caden, 1 towards Oakley.
Does
And
the one that's... Sorry, Kev. Does the one that's running towards Oakley get within 5 yards of me?
probably, yeah.
In which case, I would like to trigger my engager fighting style.
Awesome. What does that do?
I can use my reaction when an enemy moves to within 5 yards of me. I can move up to my speed, which is 5 yards. And if I reach the enemy, it enables me to do an attack.
So do you want to sort of like chart and sort of intercept all of them?
I don't want anyone to get to Oakley.
I think they're sort of moving together in a cluster. So why don't we say, yeah, like you see us coming, you're like, yeah, and run forward. Oakley, out of the blue, like one of these is coming towards you. You're thanking yourself for having used your arcane. Oh, thank God this is going to hurt as much as I. And then out of nowhere, Caden races forward, slams his shield in, and intercepts all 3 of these.
Wow.
Go ahead and make your attack. Solid hit. Woo. What does slow do?
It means I can't do multiple attacks.
Okay.
What's their defense?
Their defense is a 16, 1-6.
This counts as a critical hit, right?
Because it beat by 5. Yes, it does. So roll. Oh, you've also got your extra damage too, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so which here's the extra damage from the bonus damage thing.
Okay.
Then a critical hit does 1d6 extra?
It sounds...
Does not do anything, I can't remember.
I don't remember offhand. Whoop. Let's see. Actions in combat, attacking. Here we go.
So I get to roll damage an additional time and take the higher result.
Oh, is that what crit does?
Yeah.
Where's that?
For me, I have a fighter thing. So I don't think a critical success does extra damage in and of itself.
Right, that's right. It's nested in each of the classes. That's right.
Yeah.
So we're taking the
higher.
But this,
right?
The 9.
but the slashing adds 1d6 extra damage from. Okay, so that should be 21 points of damage.
31?
21.
21 points of damage. Okay.
Yeah.
So here we
Been one
go.
of my things.
All right. So you rough and hit this thing very hard. Manage to buckle its plate, and you are able to harm this thing. Then it is going to make an attack on you, Caden. And do you have anything that imposes banes on it?
No.
Okay.
But at the moment.
It's funny because there's so many abilities, like little things that give banes from heroes. It's because all the monsters have fucking like 2 boons on all their attacks. So it allows the heroes to feel like badasses, but like, yeah, it's not going to come out in the wash all that much.
You should have told us.
Sorry, guys. I mean, you are very awesome at this. You're very good at this game, Sirocco. Nat fucking 20. So, the first one comes down. Caden, you take 10 points of damage and the runes on its blade flash. And you lose 5 points of health as well.
Yikes.
Ooh.
The second, it's 26. So, assuming that's a hit. 9 points of damage. The runes flare. You lose 2 more health. And the final one, I have great news though. He only gets each 1 attack instead of their normal 2 attacks each. I think this one misses. That is an 11 defense.
Yes, that misses.
Okay, so you get your shield up and batter the second one aside. You're used to being in the kind of thick of it with these guys and hearing the, grunt and the clash of weapons. These, they don't breathe. They don't call out in fury. They are utterly silent. It's only the sound of their armor and their weapons and your own efforts, Caden. That is it for these pursuers. Caden, Juggler, Oakley, who would like to go next? Oh, so Juggler, you can hear what's going on outside now.
Okay.
I think I will act. I will try and assess what it's better to do, to try and heal Caden or strike at the these undead.
Give us an intellect check with the boon, please. See if you can suss out what's going on with these blades. Yeah. There's some sort of necromantic enchantment on each of these blades. Each of these things you can see is with the flaring, it's weakening Caden.
Right. Do I have magic that can help him? I can do a healing, but I don't know if that just...
Yeah, like what healing would do is help him get his, it would reduce the damage, which would effectively be him getting his fatigue back to avoid getting an actual injury.
Right. Maybe I should do that then. I'll cast a healing on him.
Okay.
Yeah, instantaneous. So I just show you what I'm doing.
Okay.
That's what I'm doing.
Nice. Returns awesome. So give us a 6d6. Backwards /R 6d6. We'll roll that for you. Nice. So all your damage is removed, Caden.
Oh, wow.
What does the magic look like, Oakley?
There is almost like a shimmering, a brightness all of a sudden, like a flashing brightness.
Yeah.
As if a star has appeared. And it just goes, and as it coalesces around you, it dissipates and you feel completely recovered.
You still have a reaction if you want.
Okay.
So you could do something like, you could save it for a free attack. You could do a dodge. When a creature... So these are all responses to things doing against you. You can catch. If Juggler is going to live up to his namesake, you can catch something. So they're all reactions, I guess. When an enemy attacks an ally within your reach, you can use your reaction to switch the enemy's target from the ally to yourself. Guessing you're not keen to that just yet. So maybe there isn't anything.
Yet, no.
Okay, so if you can mark yourself as having gone. Caden, I think you're the only one in action here. What do you want to do?
I want to hit one of these things really, really hard.
That sounds good.
But I have also learning, so I will do a guarded attack.
Oh, okay.
On the same one I attacked just there.
Love it. So that will impose a bane on the next attack roll to you, right? On you.
Yes, if I inflict damage.
If you inflict damage. Okay.
If I succeed on the roll to attack.
Oh, so you're giving up some of your bonus damage for this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Yes.
Okay. Nice
So
hit.
So
That's a crit as
it
well.
would be plus 1d6 from the bonus damage because I sacrifice one, but then plus 1d6 from
Your crit.
slasher and plus 1d6 from my crit thing, so it's plus 3d6.
So why is the slashing giving extra? Is that because of a crit?
The weapon quality slashing says if you score a critical hit with the weapon, you do 1d6 extra damage.
Okay, got it.
So,
So
17 damage in total.
So it'll be 3d6, 17 damage. All right, look at this big hit here. Boom. I'm assuming
the
your
next attack, impose 1 bane on the next roll to attack you before the start of my next turn.
Okay, on you, yes. So I'm gonna remind myself with a little skull symbol here. So he's got a bane on the attack roll. All right. Then Juggler, what do you do in response to the noise you hear outside?
I'd say, Alyssa, I'm sorry. I will help you after this. I'm
Okay.
gonna run outside.
She
I'm gonna
sort
run
of
outside.
nods. So you run outside. You're going to be in the initiative mix for next round.
Okay.
Okay. Then, guys, that was round 1. We're on to round 2. Everyone take your dots off. I hope you appreciate that I refuse to make a joke about taking your dots off, but I would never be so pandering as to...
Crass.
Exactly, crass. I'm bigger than that. So, so to take it off, you just hit it again. There you go. Bingo. Okay. Anybody seizing the initiative?
Yes.
Go right ahead.
I'm going to attack the same.
Go right ahead.
It's just... Come on.
Big hit. That is a crit again. So 3d6. Oh, wait, you didn't do a guarded attack this time, right?
No, I didn't know that. But actually, I did wrong the last turn. I realized that my crit ability lets me re-roll the damage, not add an extra damage.
Got it. Okay, so we'll take the 2 from the first one and then roll 1 extra d6. No, 2 extra d6 because you're not using
No,
guarded.
it's still 3d6 for the 2 from the bonus plus 1 from slashing.
Right, but I'm going to count what the damage you did last time as one of those dice. So, okay, that is nice. 17 damage. Holy smokes! Look at this. So your sword is just clattering up against this thing, battering away on it. Any other actions, Caden?
No, that will be me
Okay,
for
go
now.
ahead. Blue dot that. Anyone else want to seize the initiative?
I would like to, if
Okay.
it's possible.
What are you doing?
I'm gonna, if I can get within 5 yards of Caden, I'm gonna cast Bestow Might, or attempt. I guess I attempt to
You
cast. Bestow Might.
absolutely can get within 5 yards. And what does Bestow Might do?
It the target grows bigger and stronger. The target increases its health by 5. Makes strength rolls with 1 boon, imposes 1 bane against its strength, and its melee do an extra d6 of damage.
Fantastic.
And it lasts until you're unconscious. Does the spells automatically happen? Thank you.
Yeah.
How are you doing that? I don't know how. Anyway, we'll do that. I don't know. If I click on my dice, it doesn't do it. All it does is give me the prompt for the pains, like when I submit. Anyway, so thank you for doing that, Graham, because I don't know how to do that.
No, no worries. I have it too. It's a great spell.
So I give that to, and it's spells are cast automatically. Is that how that works?
Yep. It's the number of castings you have per day will tell by each individual spell. You've used up one of your castings of Bestow Might.
Yep. Okay.
Okay. And what does your spell look like?
I don't know. This is going to be like shards of bone that kind of look like they're striking Caden, but then kind of act like, almost like Hellraiser, around him.
Yeah.
And he kind of gets bigger.
Okay. Fabulous. Oakley, I think you were trying to say you want to take an action too.
I would love to.
All right. So blue dot on Juggler, please.
Yes.
This one, it's interesting. I put this one under an attack spell, and I think that might be the thing. If it's under attack, it's not coming up. I want to do Scorching Ray on one of them.
Nice.
One creature or object within 20 yards. And then it's run out of room. it does something incredible. Let me just see if that works.
Is it a pyromancy spell?
It is an astromancy spell.
Cool.
And I'm sorry, I thought I put this in, but under attack spells, it seems to.
That's okay. We were having difficulty with the character sheets the first time we played too.
It's page 87.
Yeah. So make a will check with one
will roll. Sorry.
You go ahead, Graham. You're going to say the exact same thing I am. Go ahead.
So I'm going to make a will roll with a boon. However, I'm going to augment this with my amulet, which gives me a further boon and gives you a bane.
Nice.
So I think I'm on 2 boons.
Okay. So I'm not actually rolling against that. You just got a target number of the target's agility.
Oh, excellent. And so let me do that. Let me see what I get.
Okay. Nice.
Okay.
So the roll was 11, which is actually precisely what you needed.
Oh, that's right. 15 points of damage then. It's not a critical, so the target does not.
Which one were you
catch on
targeting?
fire.
The one that Caden's been battering down, the one with the arrow in it, or the fresh one?
The arrowed one.
Got it. Okay, that is... What does it look like as you invoke this?
There is again a moment of shimmering which coalesces into my hand, and that hand becomes a ball, and that ball flies out of my hand and strikes the target.
Incredible. All right. Boy, you got 3 castings of that too. Then that leaves Sirocco. Sirocco, are you seizing the initiative as well?
I'm not.
Okay. He's leaving it to Caden. Caden has his well in hand, he feels.
I have other plans for my reaction, is basically what it comes down to.
Absolutely. He's going to go visit Estebel, and then...
With my reaction, I go hit on Estebel.
I wink intentionally.
Right.
Okay,
right.
so I got a Bane on... Is it all attacks against you from this target, or my first attack against you?
I think it's the first attack against me. It doesn't specify that it's from the target, but also it says until the start of my next turn. So technically speaking, by going first, I ruined the effect of it.
Oh. Yeah, good point. Okay. Impose 1 Bane on the next turn before the start of your next turn. Oh, yeah, that is... Yeah. Well, good to know.
Yeah, live and learn. Yeah, hopefully live and
Fortune favor. Good to see. Very sadly, delete the one character in the level 4 folder. Okay, so this injured one is going to try first. And he has 2 attacks on you. So first, attack numero...
Bane, right? Because of the might, bestow might.
Because...
Or it was against my strength. Never mind.
That's strength.
Okay, yeah.
It's a strength roll, not attack.
Yeah.
I think the first one misses, though. It's a 12.
That is a miss, yeah.
Okay. Second attack from the same one. That is a 16.
That is a hit.
Okay. Once again, you take... I'll roll a different colored dice for the life drain. 1. And I think I've got the perfect dice. Look at that, hey? Wow. All right. So you are taking 15 damage and 3 life from that attack. And as your life is getting further down, Caden, you can feel that there's a pull to that blade. Now, second one is going to likewise lay on the pain here. That is a 14.
That is not a hit.
Okay. And
Nice.
then 17, so that's a hit.
That is it.
That is 5 points of damage and 6 health drain. Then the final one, the one that is still smoldering and has an arrow sticking out of it, batters down on you. That is a 15.
Not a hit.
Okay, and that's a crit, so it's like 25.
Jeez.
Definitely a hit.
Okay. And that is 16 points of damage and 1 health.
I am going down.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, is that how it works? When your health matches your damage?
When your damage matches your health, you're incapacitated.
Whoa. So these things have been battering away. Now hold up. Let me see if something happens here.
Jeez.
Yeah, when your damage is equal to your health, you fall prone and become incapacitated. Any damage taken in excess of that causing you to become incapacitated is lost. You are unconscious for as long as you are incapacitated.
What page, David?
So
39.
here's what happens. Caden gets hit and knocked down. That thing flares. And Caden, you die. He is as still as the grave, and there is a pulse on all the runes all the way up that blade on the one on the right. And Oakley, your suspicions. That blade has pulled his soul into it.
Jeez.
That is the end of their turn. Sirocco, you're up.
I yell, Caden, no! And I'm circling the flying. I'm circling the
Is that it? That would be fucking fantastic. That's the only action
Well,
you did.
you have to remember, I hit on Escabel. I was focused. All right. So akin to Oakley with foreshadowing, I'm using my mage implement to augment magic using a charge from that.
Okay.
Yep.
And my and that's going to be augmenting the talent that I use to that I use with my bow, my magical talent, right there.
Okay.
And then, but the spell I'm casting is also spell is as I yell, it's Avalanche Strike, which will be in the chat in a moment.
Okay.
Wow.
And so it's a spell on the bow. It's a spell on the, it's a bow using spell kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
That is a miss.
okay.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Fortune?
There is fortune.
That damage is amazing.
That damage is incredible.
Sure, yeah, fortune. I kind of forgot about it. Yep.
Okay.
Fortune, what is that? That's a
So the group,
automatic success.
the group.
96.
Automatic success?
Is that how fortune works?
I think so. I think that it's not a reroll. I think it's an auto.
Let's see here. Fortune is in the Game Master Guide.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see here.
Character uses a 20 as the roll's result.
Really? Wow.
I mean, it is a pretty rare resource, so
Right.
it would make sense that if you're gonna be able to use it, it would be a big effect like that. So, world, page, travel quests. I could look
Page
this up
50.
instead of just flipping page by page by page.
50.
That would be what
Page 50.
Page 50?
Yep.
Oh, see, I would have got there. Precisely in 50 pages. So rules is written. It does seem you have to decide before.
Oh, okay.
But no, but the thing is, I hate that shit. I want there to be a meaningful expenditure of things. We always play with it being you spend afterwards with every narrative meta currency. So that is totally fine. That becomes a 20 then, which means you got a 26 total, which would have been a crit. Does that give you... Oh, yeah, it does. Look at that. So on a crit...
Oh, yeah.
So 30, which one were you firing on? The one that Caden was battering away on, the one that you were shooting, or the fresh one?
Probably the one I was shooting before.
Okay. So then...
That's also been hit by the Scorching Ray.
Yeah. Yes, that is correct. Okay, so then... and then it also gets slammed back by the force of your impact, and it needs to make a strength roll or fall prone. So
okay. It's not completely down then. Oh dear.
I know, right?
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Nat 20 on this roll, so it's hit and it kind of slides back and it adjusts itself. It does seem like it's barely holding together, like everything's rattling and whatnot, and it's still not making any sound. Carl made a question. The health bonus, you had 5 extra health, didn't you?
Yeah, taking that into account.
Okay. I was wondering if you could-
Okay. All right. Then that brings us to the end of round 2. Only 1 dead hero so far, guys. I feel like things are going well. So,
you got this.
That is the one, incidentally, that has Caden's soul in it.
This one here.
Yep. Round 3. Everyone take their blue dots off.
Oh yeah.
Get your dots off. Anyone seizing the initiative?
I think we're gonna have to, huh?
Yeah.
Oakley,
go for it, you guys.
give us a intellect check. No boons, no banes. These swords are temporary vessels. If you strike that thing down, the soul should fly back to Caden.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, that's something.
Do you want to call anything out?
I'll call that out. I'll say, if you take it down, Caden will come back.
Okay. Anyone seizing the initiative? If so, what are you doing?
Yeah, I think, well, Juggler will go then. I can move and attack, right?
Yep.
So he's going to move and drawing his spell blade. I guess he can attack.
What's your speed? Because the thing is, Sirocco just pushed that 5 feet back, so it would be 10 yards away, or 5 yards back would be 10 yards away.
Oh, so I'm speed 5, so I can't get to them, I guess, right?
Not this round, no. Unless you've got a range attack.
Yeah, it's not as great, but that's fine. I can use Tricky, though. I guess that could help, right?
And each of the other ones are only 5. You can engage with either the other 2. It's only because the avalanche strike pushed it back 5 yards because of the crit.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just go to this one then, just to try to get rid of it.
So you race forward for that injured one. It brings its glowing blade towards you. Glowing glade.
Okay.
Welcome to my meadow. I'm planning on attacking you with this.
So I can do Tricky, I guess, right? So do I have to roll anything for that?
What does Tricky do? I don't know what that is.
Is that thing?
Sirocco, you're our destroyer of worlds.
Trickery. You can make an attribute roll with a boon. When you use this talent roll to attack with a boon, your attack deals extra d6 damage.
Okay.
So I think I might go for Cadence.
Okay. And then I think that's right.
So go ahead and make your attack roll. It sounds like with 1 boon.
Yep, the boon. Okay. I'll add in all the damages I get, including the extra damage from the level and stuff.
Okay.
And the offhand weapon. All right. Whoa.
Nice roll.
Wow.
Great roll. Nat 20, baby. Look at that. Beautiful. Then, and that is 6, a 6, a 5, and a 6. So your weapon would be 2d6. You do 2d6 extra damage because of 1 for the tricky attack, and then what, 2 for your bonus damage?
1 extra dash for bonus damage, and then I have an offhand weapon, like the dagger. You're checking the 2 weapons. It gives you an extra d6.
Fantastic. So what does it look like as you just fucking annihilate this first one?
Well, it's already damaged. I go, Caden! And I... Before the Marshal, probably.
Yeah. Okay.
Marshal!
It is down. Blue dot yourself, and anyone else sees in Oakley, I guess. Sirocco, I saw you shaking your head, Sean.
Yeah. So Oakley's gonna take out the one that it was staggered before by Sirocco's amazing strike and try and finish it off.
Now the Scorching Ray?
It's going to be a Scorching Ray.
Hell yeah.
let's just. In fact, here we are. And I'm going to use my amulet again, so it's 2 boons.
Okay.
I am tracking these.
Okay.
Is that not enough?
Solid hit.
Okay. Takes 17.
Caden.
Nice.
Breath comes back into your lungs. You are still incapacitated, but you are no longer dead.
Just like the runes, like the kind of shifts out and goes back.
Yeah,
into
they go dead.
Can we tell?
As
Do
I
you think we
think
can kind of tell?
definitely
Or-
that you can
okay.
see when the runes are blazing on these things. Then Sirocco, you said you are not seizing the initiative, right?
Correct.
Then this one turns and goes for Juggler.
Okay.
Juggler does a 16.
He'll have a Bane
Why is that?
because for my magic blade, the spell charge weapon,
Oh, okay.
it poses a Bane for again on my defense.
Yeah, no problem. Let me roll that again. Is it for
Nice.
every attack against you or only the first one?
When you hold the weapon, you impose 1 Bane against defense.
Okay, there you go. First attack is a 19, actually, then.
Okay.
Is that a hit?
All right. That is a hit.
Okay, you take 13 points of damage, and you take 6 health. You lose 6 health from that flaring of the blade.
So 13, and that goes to 20. Okay.
And then its follow-up strike is, yeah, it's like a 25. So, yeah.
He's going.
Fortunately,
Juggler's going down.
no crit effect on this. That is 10 more damage and 2 more health.
Okay. So let's.
Holy shit, you're 1 off from going down.
Is that right?
Uh,
Yeah, I think I'm down.
oh, right, you took 8. So, yeah, so Juggler, you are actually dead.
Unless you do any like
No, so,
damage mitigation. There's no damage mitigation.
no. So, Juggler, you likewise are dead. The flare on the blade.
Dead again?
on.
He's again dead.
He's again
Dead.
dead. Yeah. This is old hat for him. It's not like,
Yeah.
the first time you go, it seems really
Right.
impressive.
Again.
The next time you're like, hi, Chuck. Hello, Todd.
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
Got it. Yeah.
All right. Then that was it for. So this thing has cut another one. The blade is, flaring with unholy light, and it turns towards you, Oakley. Sirocco, what are you doing?
I can go. What do you think, Oakley? Up to you.
Oakley's gone. He sees the initiative.
Yeah.
Sorry, I am going. I'm using another charge on my amulet for a boon.
Okay.
Give it everything, my friend. Give it everything.
Using one spell goes off as a reaction to casting another spell. That spell is right here.
Okay.
So that so if I roll on my attack here coming up, if it's even, then that spell kicks in.
Okay.
Another avalanche strike. Here we go.
Come on.
Let's see here. Let's see. I have 1 from my arcane warrior, 1 boon. I have a boon, I think, from high ground, since I'm flying. Is that correct? A boon from firing from above.
Yeah.
So that's 2, and this spell, the avalanche coming up, provides 1 as well. So it's 3 boons. Here we go. Let's wait. I gotta. Coming up. Okay.
That is a hit.
Nice.
Big
Nice.
hit.
Look at the damage. Look, my God.
Jesus.
Oh, good gracious me.
Okay. Solid hit. Not a crit, though. Okay. Then, that is the end of round 3.
Oh, you know what? That's an even number. So add the extra 3d6 damage. It's already done right above it. See under Fateful Strikes, the extra.
No. Is it if you roll an even number? You rolled an 11 on your hit.
I rolled an 18, right? Oh,
No.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, 11.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Caden, what are you rolling there?
at the end of a round when you're incapacitated, you lose 1d6 health and make a luck roll. On a success, you heal 1 damage. On a failure, you remain incapacitated.
Nice. So you heal 1 damage. But wait, so you lose damage first, and then you roll to see if you heal back?
You lose health, and the damage cannot exceed your health.
Oh, okay.
But now I heal 1, so I'm barely. I mean, in tremendous pain on the ground.
Okay. Then it is that's at the end of round 3. We're on to round 4. Anybody seizing the initiative?
Oh, I feel like I need to try something else.
Caden, you're not?
No.
Okay. Oakley?
Well, I mean, it's only going to come after me anyway, so I guess I suppose try and hit it again.
Okay.
I got my last scorching ray.
Do you have use of your amulet yet again, or is it only twice per day?
So on the amulet, that's a good point.
It's probably once per level, right? So your 3rd level, so 3 charges. That's how it is for me.
3 charges, correct. So I've got another charge.
Okay.
That's out. So I go for that. Gives me 2. And a scorching ray.
Here it comes. Oh, solid hit! 11 points of... Are we missing any damage?
It does on a critical success. If
Which
that
this is.
It catches fire.
Okay, so... catches fire, I think, is a condition. How about I take a look at my weirdo screen here?
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
On fire. Takes 1d6 damage at the end of each round.
Nice.
Okay. Then... so this thing is ablaze, but still no sound from it whatsoever.
No.
Okay. Sirocco, are you seizing the initiative as well, or are you going to let this thing get an attack on Oakley?
Yeah, I'm gonna. I needed it for all that magic nonsense, but now I can use them for seizing. I am seizing the initiative.
Okay. What are you doing?
So Fateful Strikes is a minute long, so that is still in effect, and I'm using my I'm going to use my last charge of my amulet.
Okay.
In the same way to add a boon.
Okay.
And I'm using my last avalanche strike.
Okay.
See what? It's only one that's still up. Is that right?
What's that?
Is there only one that's still up?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Firing away here. It is with 3 boons as before, I believe. And there we go.
Oh,
that
nice.
is a solid hit.
Goodness me.
Now, I do have bad news for some of you.
Okay.
So as this thing goes down, for one, Juggler is brought back to life.
Yes.
You're released from that blade. Then, let's see here. Caden and Juggler. You each take 9 points of damage as this thing detonates, as does its allies. And then I need you to give us a strength roll and a will roll.
Okay.
Actually, just give us strength. The will roll won't matter. It's really just a strength one.
Gracious.
If you take more damage than your capacity, does it go directly to wound or to health?
No, any access is lost.
Oh, lost. Okay, cool.
So 13, is that success?
Yeah, 10 is what you're looking for. So both you're fine. You're not taking any extra damage. I do like that. It's a neat way they do it for saves. They're like, you automatically take this amount of damage, make your save, see if you avoid taking extra damage.
Yeah.
The last of these things explodes.
How much we take?
You already, what I rolled there, 9.
9?
Yeah.
So how do we do that?
Just, you're at 26 then. So you're incapacitated, but you're no other deleterious effect, and Caden is awake now. So with the last of those things exploding, whoop, you just died. Brought you back. Hallelujah. It's 3 times Juggler's been back this session.
Yeah.
So Juggler is back and alive. Or sorry, Caden, so you take that extra damage as well. You took 9 damage. I think you were knocked out again, right?
But I will trigger my combat recovery, which, as a reaction when you're harmed, I get to heal half my damage total.
Love it.
Yeah.
So-
I can heal 3d. I can heal 3d6 from the brink when I become.
Oh, love it. Yeah, go ahead. Go roll that. That's awesome.
Yeah. As a reaction, I couldn't do it like in that combat.
Yeah.
All right. So
11. Okay, so I think maybe what happens is, like, Caden, you're sort of woozy, and you see these hit the ground, and you can see their bodies are trembling. You grab your shield, roll on Juggler, and then each of them detonates, leaving nothing behind. What are you guys doing?
I'm doing a... Whoa, hang on, wait a minute. Caden, I'm doing a moderate healing on.
Nice. So Caden, you get... Oh, go ahead and roll 66. Oakley. Nice. 17 back. Or 17 damage removed. Okay. If you look around, Caden, your ears are going to be ringing for a while, but your eyes pick out something perched atop a pole. A crow, once again. Oakley, what does your heal look like? Your moderate heal, by the by.
It's a suffusion of star-like light, which encompasses Caden, and as it shimmers away, it heals.
Awesome. And Juggler, what is your light? Is that on yourself?
Yeah, I'm gonna do it myself.
Okay.
Because Caden doesn't need it anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess it's like I don't know. It's probably maybe like the galleon root flowers.
Kind of like pulls the wounds together.
Yeah.
Anna likes that idea. I've told them. Okay, then with that down, Caden, this crow seems to be fixed eyes with you, like as if it's trying to stare you down.
I shall stare at anything as I sort of get to my feet, like in pain, just mutter under my breath. You're gonna just watch it do something. Ah!
Takes to the wind. You hear then a moan from Ruckus.
Can I see which direction the crow is flying in?
Back in the direction of where you found Alyssa.
Interesting.
So all you need to do is fight 2 more of these fights at different parts of the city, and then just triangulate where those crows are going. You guys have this settled, no problem. So with that gone, it does not appear that they're quite badly injured, but the hateful horde is not dead.
Oh, they're all sucked into the blades.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's probably actually what would have happened. So with them, the blades defeated, and unfortunately fucking destroyed too in the detonation of those things. Oakley, you perhaps go over and you can see little fragments with this stuff on. This is no small amount of resources that were expended in creating these things too.
Oh yeah.
And you were wondering about necromancy before, or not wondering, but necessarily we were talking about that. These things are the creation of necromancy.
Right. Wow.
What are you guys doing?
I think I went up to take a look for more throw. I went higher to see if anything else is coming.
So if you fly up higher, I think you, for one, because you probably do this fairly often, it's like what a fucking sprawl that Newtown has become. And it's just like you can see people moving down all over the place, but there's no obvious source of this. There's no obvious extra attack that is coming in.
So if I see that the coast is clear, If I think so, anyway, I will fly back down to see how the juggler and Caden are doing.
Okay.
I want to get a shit rep.
What do you guys do?
Oh, the juggler says, "Did I mention that I think I found my killer?"
Really?
Is it one of these fucks?
Yeah, that's what I was the easiest.
No,
Yeah,
one
yeah,
of these fucks, juggler.
Oh,
You don't need more complication.
yeah.
yeah. Well, no, I tell him about Vito Vildrentaler. He called me Holdick.
Hold it.
I guess that's my name. I think I prefer the juggler.
Ah.
But Holdick was my name. There was a last name, but I don't remember it.
Did you seek justice on your killer?
I asked him straight ahead or straight away if he killed me, and I meant it to be a jest. And he laughed and said, "Oh yes, I did, ha ha ha." But he was lying.
Huh.
I felt that pain in the back of my neck and spine where my first step occurred. When my first step occurred.
Something
Anyway.
to look into.
Perhaps, yes, but the troubles of Newtown probably take precedent unless Yito Vildrentaler is associated with that. Anyway, I should check on Alyssa.
If you say that name, Caden, why don't you give us a intellect check with 2 Banes? You meet a lot of people, but there's a chance you may have heard the name before. Oh, make it 1 Bane, sorry, because you've got City Watch as well. That guy's an alchemist. He makes like tonics and shit like that and sells them in the market when he has stock in. That is.
You mean Yito the Alchemist? He's been around
Yes,
a while.
Yes, he used to be apparently he said he used to be in the carnival with myself and Moonbeam. He said bad things about Moonbeam.
I mean, you know.
Not the first.
Ooh, Caden may not be a rogue. That was below the belt.
Well, I mean, I know where his stall is. If we want to have a talk with him later.
He said he was going to come by.
Oh, okay.
Sounds like he doesn't know you know. Am I wrong?
I don't know. I'm letting
I
you
wouldn't
know.
think he'd come
that
by.
I know that he knows that I don't know. Or do I know?
Does he know you know that he knows?
Third base.
Never mind.
Who's on first?
Yeah.
So, well, what do we
Is
think of
anyone
this?
good at following tracks? Because I have a suspicion these things were here for Alyssa. Potentially.
I do go to check on Alyssa.
So you go back
So
in
maybe
and
we
she, her eye kind of, is wild and looking at you questioningly.
We destroyed some death guards or something. They almost destroyed us. If I take out a dagger, I think if I break this, like disrupt this rune, she'll pass on?
You can give us do you have any professions you think would inform?
No, a juggler and bodyguard are my professions.
Yeah, so you've heard then what the others have said about that. And they're not in here with you right now.
No, they said it had to be like dispelled, but I don't know if that means, does that mean removed or like cleansed? How deep does it go?
I think maybe it's around then with your trying to decide, what to do. Maybe someone else would walk in. Oakley, perhaps? Or would you give your mind on something else, Oakley?
No, I think what I was trying to do was work out from the blades whether there was anything more that was recoverable in terms of the stalls.
Yeah.
Whether I could find the tendrils of that in some kind of way, but I don't know. He's fascinated by the power within them and is trying to work out how to recover these benighted souls that have been embedded in amongst them.
Yeah, yeah. Why don't you give us a I think just because your sort of history with, fussing around with questionable artifacts, we'll give you a boon from that. And I think 2 Banes from it's a very challenging task. Can you think of anything else that might factor in your favor? Right now you got 1 Bane in intellect check.
Right. I think that's probably fair. His magic, he does know the enchantment tradition, which is not the same tradition, but he knows about, how to infuse things with magic, and therefore he may sort of reverse that in a way.
I buy that. Give us a flat intellect check.
Right, let's see what he gets. Now, and it's you select intellect, I think. Submit.
Nice. So you managed to collect enough to be able to potentially get something out of it. Some knowledge of what's gone on here. Sirocco and Caden, what are you guys doing during this time? Jugglers, and it sounds like Juggler, maybe no one's coming in, so you may have time to make up your mind as to what you want to do.
Yeah.
Oh, you said...
Well, that's Sirocco. Sirocco didn't do.
What are you going to say, Caden?
So is Ruckus alive and stirring?
Yes.
So help him to his feet and ask him if he knows where these things came from or what they were doing here, if he's any knowledge of them. Like, were they attacking the hateful horde, or it looked like they were coming for where we were?
Shakes his head. They came directly for you. He looks back at the house. I think we both know what they were coming for.
Yes, hoping we can track them back to where they came from.
He looks around and, there's such a crowd that is gathered in here. Mm-hmm. It's going to be difficult you would have to hope to find the tracks on the far side of where everyone's been milling around trying to see the fight and see what's going on. But he does lean in on you, and he grabs your hand once again to get your attention. And he says, I stood with you, brother.
And I will not forget that.
And he's studying you as if trying to judge what meaning there is. He nods, helps the others up. We'll stay and keep watch until he looks back at the hut, or to your house, until you decide what to do.
Appreciate it.
Okay. He says something in the battle tongue once again, and the others sort of fan out to take guard posts. Sirocco, if you're sort of flying above seeing this, you're seeing what the level of organization that Caden had before too. This is like that with a little bit more. These guys are able to, with a single word, communicate strategy and whatever.
He alights and checks in with Caden and the juggler to make, to see that everyone's recovering and whatnot. And also, as it says, practice. I don't know if there's anything left of his arrows after the implosion or explosion. Probably
no. Those would be gone. Yeah.
Yeah. He's gotten more regimented about that, of recovering things like that. And then
I hear your weird master is a real stickler for that shit. So that's
he does not go looking for Estebel. No. So what do we think? What are we thinking?
Well, I was wondering if I could borrow your keen eyes.
Yes,
there was a crow here earlier, and I think it's trying to tell us something, or tell me something, or...
what would you like me to look for?
If we head back to where we first met, where I first met Alyssa, I'm wondering if the crow will still be there, guide us somewhere. Would you be up for a little excursion.
Certainly.
Okay.
And then seeing Ruckus protect, knowing that Oakley and the juggler are around, I think Caden will go back to where Alyssa sort of stumbled into the crowd and see if the crow is around or if there's any...
I think it's around that point where you would probably see undisguised Malice would come running up. So she is in her changeling guise, which she very rarely wears because, like, changelings are not super popular as a vehicle. So she's probably doing it for your benefit. She runs over, boss, you all right?
I've had better days, but I think I'll be fine. Good to have friends.
She looks you up and over. I mean, you look like hell normally, but... Boss, you look a little worked over. And who's this then? Is this the friend you were waiting for?
Sirocco, Malice, Sirocco.
Hello, Malice.
I've heard a lot about you.
Oh,
Even some of it was good.
Ah. Look at Caden. Give an eye roll. And, well, I see. You're on the watch then.
I definitely do the watching. That's for sure.
Well, obviously, you didn't see, no idea what direction these came from, I assume, or you would have already said.
What's these? What are you talking about? What happened here? Someone was saying about the dead walking, and then you're hugging a zombie? What's happened?
Very briefly fill her in, then ask her, you have your ear to the ground, you hear, and I briefly touch my sort of temple, not to give away her secret, but so she knows what I mean. Have you ever heard of any sort of underground temples and death mages in town by any chance?
I haven't. And now you can hear it she rarely does this, but you can hear her voice in your mind. And she says, is there a survivor?
Yes. If you can call her that.
Oh. Yeah, that's a good idea.
And she looks at you. You know, it's tough. It's not pleasant reading minds and whatnot. And as you say, you're right to be protective. The only more surefire way to make a changeling more hated than to know that they can also read your mind and that they can, Yeah. So, like, she walks a pretty narrow line of this stuff, but she says in your mind, I will learn what I can if you want. And tone doesn't
hesitate for a moment.
Yeah, like tone doesn't carry over. There's not like an inflection. It's almost a more intimate thing that you can just feel like this is her reluctantly wanting to do this. Going into the mind of someone who's experienced trauma is not only dangerous, but like going to be extremely painful. But she's offering it sincerely.
I think she'll get back of a strong feeling of gratitude. I would not normally, but I think what has been done to this one is so heinous. We need to find out who's doing this.
Do you say that out loud or in the telepathic bond?
In her mind.
Okay.
And then I sort of let her step so that she can step into the...
Okay. She says, all right. And starts making her way towards the house.
Is it awkward as I watch them two stare at each other silently? Is there any awkwardness there?
Yeah.
Okay, so what are we doing here, folks? Is this like a stupor? What do we got here?
She calls back over her shoulder. She says, make sure he doesn't get killed again.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough.
So she walks over, and if you're... Oakley, are you still outside at this point? Or have you gone inside?
I am, yes.
Yeah.
I think I am, yeah.
So she looks over, and she, as she walks past, she looks at you and looks down, and it's rare. Changeling are an unusual ancestry to see around. She looks at you, looks down at your thing, she says, I don't think you're getting scrapped for that, maid. And carries on. Door opens, juggler, and you turn around, and I think you know Malice, because you know Caden, so you've been introduced to her before. Mm-hmm. She looks at you, sees the dagger in your hand, And I think what you hear in your mind, Juggler. No, she wouldn't give away her secret. I think that way. She just says softly, "Let me speak to her first."
Yeah, I wish to end her pain. Right. Did I let him? I step aside for.
She looks at Alyssa, and I think you see a wince of pain on her face, Juggler, and you're not really sure why that's happening. And she walks over to you and puts her hand on your shoulder, and you then hear in your mind, "I'll call for you when it's time."
Okay.
So if you stand...
I'll step out and step and watch.
Okay. Close the door.
Yeah.
Caden, are you going to continue on with Sirocco, or are you going to wait and see what happens with Malice?
No, I think I'll wait for what happens with Malice, but I will open the bottle of whiskey and just take a swig and then share it around with walkers, my companions, anyone who wants a swig can here.
So then Juggler is kind of standing at the door. Sirocco, you're probably a little confused as to what's going on right now because of the amount of telepathic communication. What are you doing?
I say, Caden, what's the plan? You wanted to look for the crow, right?
Yeah, but let Malice do her thing. We should know more, and then we can decide. Best not to rush headlong into this.
Oakley, you're, I imagine, still kind of piecing through and grabbing what things you can.
Yeah.
What we're going to end on, guys, is the sound of the agonizing wail that comes from inside the hovel. And we'll find out what that's about in 1 month's time. So, everybody, welcome to level 4.
Nice.
Oh, that's right. Wow. It happens fast, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
So then, for those, and I've already got your level 4 folder opened up for you. Once you finish up, you should have access to all your characters. I'm going to move that to the very top here, so you'll know which ones you're supposed to work on. For those listening at home, thank you so much for joining us for part 3 of our Decade of Doom campaign. As is always the case, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, the campaign, or the game we're playing, please don't hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section down below, and I'll endeavor to reply in a timely fashion. In addition, there's a link in the description of this video to the Dungeon Musings Discord server, where all of us are active, and we have a channel there. I don't think we have one for Shadow the Demon Lord, or any of the Shadow games. But we do have an assorted games one, and we have for most of the other campaigns and games we run on the channel. There's also channels like Find a Group, GM Discussion, virtual tabletop chat. There is a very helpful, knowledgeable, and friendly community over there, so you are more than welcome to join us if you'd like. There's also a link down below to our friends at Noble Knight Games. Noble Knight Games is the preeminent unionized retailer of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs in North America. Not only do they have an incredible selection of new role-playing games, board games, and card games, they have an unmatched selection of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs. If they don't have something in stock in their extensive catalog, you can put it on a want list. They'll send you an email when it comes in, and when you make a purchase, I will say that normally we have a discount code listed down below. The one that is down below has expired. Unfortunately, I forgot to get it updated before the session. I should have one in the near future, so if you are listening to this at a later time, or if you're listening to this now, come back in about a week's time, and I should have the updated discount code on our next session. That'll save you 10% on any purchase of $10 or more through their website. The last thing I will say is a huge thank you to our stalwart weirdos. So, Graham, Carl, Sean, and David, thank you so much, guys. This, once again, the session has fucking flew by. We'll be back in 1 month's time to see what has been learned and what is happening next. As is always the case, if you have comments, questions, or concerns, put them down below and I'll try and reply in a timely fashion. Otherwise, we hope that we gave you a few hours to take your mind off the troubles of our world and think about the troubles that our heroes are finding as they are coming back together in Newtown. And until we see you again, stay safe, stay healthy, and happy gaming.